at the fragging, though. He finds the first kill towards Crims.
J-Dub holding off toward A. Good shot from Dennis. RPK obliterated before he could even see what's going on inside of the site. The fact that JW is able to push up through Squeaky as well. Bombs in mid-garage. Even if it wants to go back toward the A site, which they may have a false sense of security in, they can take that down. But an opening pick, there it is. At 6 at least.
So JW spotted they're running towards B. Olaf is already in B storage as well. He's going to be the pivotal factor here. If Olaf can find Happy at this point, just as he's moving towards Checkers, he could find him. It's going to be a really close battle here.
It's going to be a split, though. He's going to have JW to play it off of. So now Olaf knows exactly where he is. Has to sit, wait there. That's exactly the information he was waiting for. Problem is, they still haven't found exactly how XMS wishes to play this. They know he's on the site. They know he's on the platform. They'll spot him, but he's got time to reset, so there's no trade potential. And XMS is going to hit the headshot.
Well, there it is. MVS with 2 AK-47s and 3 pistols managed to pick up the last round. To be fair, they look pretty flat throughout it, and I'm hoping they can pick things up in the second half. We'll take a quick break. Do not go anywhere.
All signs point to Fnatic. We said it was former rosters of glory, former map where they were both decent on, but the only roster that's intact in the form that we used to speak about is Fnatic, and they're showing us that old style tonight.
Absolutely. JW, just relentless aggression throughout every area of the map is seen, especially towards A main and Squeaky Door. RBK though, Matt, 2 frags and 14 deaths. He has not turned up to play here today. He normally holds towards B storage, normally getting challenged in finding frags against the aggressive players there, but couldn't shut down Olaf Meister whatsoever. Very rough game for him overall. It's 11-4 after the first half. Fnatic did, of course, pick up the pistol. If MVS do that here on the city half as well, there's always a chance for a game. We saw that against MVS, with LDLC earlier as well. Same scoreline, managed to bring it back to a very close scoreline against NIP. So we're hopefully going to see them picking it up, but from what I've seen so far, I'm not feeling too hopeful, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, honesty is a good thing, Henry. I do appreciate that you're honest every now and then in your life.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be really, really tough for them. It'd be good for Fnatic as well, because last evening they didn't exactly have the easiest night.
Well, MVS just lost to Hellraisers as well in the Starladder qualifier.
Yeah.
So this has not been a great night for them overall.
Nah, I mean, it's been a rough time for all of the French teams as of late. LDLC seems the most surprising to me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They lost 2-0 to NIP, but they gave some good games. And here we go then, the second half begins. MVS versus Fnatic is, of course, MVS on the city side now. We'll have a look at the Fnatic buy. They've got a huge bed of rounds here. We'll see what they bring to the table. 3 sets of armor so far. Wouldn't be surprised if Deagle gets thrown into the fray at this point. Having a look out for it. Flash against the P250. Smoke and a flashback to go with it as well. Crim's yet to buy.
Smoke and a flashback.
See what aims the box. Okay, no, yeah, so 4 sets of armor, smoke and a flash, and flash over the P250.
Scream wants to try and peek it off. Utilize his best accuracy where possible. JW. He's inside mid on the other side of where Scream's peeking down. He's refusing to peek out with the Glock. Happy over towards Sandbags, or excuse me, a big box inside of Checker. I don't know where I get the Sandbag reference from. It's on the other side of the wall, but it means a retake on A, and that's pretty straightforward. We see this all the time. Bomb as well is going to head that direction. The one kit for XMS becomes a factor. Thankfully, he's playing near truck. He's close to the site, so even if he does go down, it's grabbable on the way back through, but he's going to try and do damage where possible.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult retake, though. They have got a smoke and a kit, but XMS not really inflicting much damage. The bomb's planted now, and it's a huge rotation. 4 players coming from the B side of the map. Scream and RPK towards Highway. So they come with the Scream here to hit some pinpoint headshots to this stage.
Capable of it, but not in this particular instance as he falls back away. Smoke is well down. It's going to give Sixer a bit of a chance to try and sneak up from the truck. As it fades, he'll go through. Meanwhile, though, JW, he comes out late from middle. That's going to hold Scream down. RPK gets found by him, and it's all yellow. In fact, Fnatic now against just Happy, and he's standing in the open getting picked apart by 1,000 arrows.
Did JW get that second kill through the smoke as well? He killed RPK and spanned the smoke a little bit and got another headshot. It's like, oh, yeah, thank you very much. I'll take that all day long. So MVS there gambling towards the B side of the map. It like it was a full retake, like you said, but it was a very heavy commitment towards B. Like actually 4 players in towards Checkers, Heaven, and the B entrance as well. They had the long rotation and tried to split from Highway and the truck area, but JW waiting for that backside to come in. They didn't really have a chance at that point. They will be 14 to the second round. That's MVS with 5.7 CZs, PT50s, a couple of flashbangs, and of course armor as well. Nothing really presented in terms of a setup like a stack or anything like that towards the B side of the map. It's going to be quite a default round. Happy by Squeaky Door actually opened it up as well. Do very well to get a frag here and get away with it, considering he has no smoke down towards A main. Sixer will be baiting an RPK. The idea is Sixer dies. A bit of a bait and switch. We saw it from Maniac earlier on Train. One player goes down, you're just hoping they don't check that position once again once they kill you.
JW is going to hold it off. Happy. Waiting with the CZ door open, is trying to catch off Crims as he heads that direction. He may yet do. Crims realizes, though, that the door is open, and that's indicative of only one thing, but it doesn't matter. CZ strikes, AK available. This will be a gun for them to work with.
Good flashbang as well, as XMS doing damage here. Headshots one and kills the other. This is actually looking very promising for MVS.
First flash won't catch him, but JW has made it up to Highway. This is their chance to thwart the possibility of damage that's already been occurred because he waits it out. XMS has no idea he's there, peeks for information, gets his head torn off. Gets him in closer to the site, but looking the wrong direction. It's Scream next in line. And they still have Happy with the gun out toward the doorway that is now open. Bomb still heading in this direction as well. In what is now a 4 versus 2. Flusha smokes down on the way, has a gap to work with, but can't find the shot toward Quad in time. Scream's trying to bait that out for further information. Olaf's so low. He's got to be so careful on where to go. This round's done. This is going to be envious round.
Yeah, absolutely. Comes down to Happy in that squeaky door area. Gets some nice timing towards Dennis there. Shuts down one, and then a good flashbang towards A main as well. It's XMS. He pretty much kills 2 at that point. He gets the headshot on the first one, nails the second as well, and the round just unfolds for Fnatic. And now maybe this is a lifeline for MVS. Saving the AK, though, I would suggest that means a force buy for sure for Fnatic here. They don't want to allow the MVS bank accounts to swell. Olaf Meister with the AK-47. Let's see what they bring to the table. Yeah, it will be the force buy, of course. So MVS, they do manage to save a couple of AKs here. They bring a Famis in the hands of Sixer. Happy with the M4 and XMS down to just a pistol here, but still not out of the woods just yet. This is a difficult round against Fnatic, especially with Olaf Meister and his AK-47.
Scream will wait to watch Tom White as well to the drop. That's where Olaf gets boosted up with the AK, so they at least know where that is early. He's down at 3 HP. This is not exactly a perfect start to the round for the French side.
Yeah, he might want to give his AK over to XMS at this point. Yeah, there it is. Makes sense. XMS will have a bit more duel potential here as he finds Olaf Meister. Doesn't do any damage just yet. Wants to try and get a kill here, considering they have a player on such low HP. He needs to try and get something working for them here.
XMS is going to repeat this as well, but look at how close JW is. All we see is his name. Trying to strike as soon as he can. Doesn't even need to. Olaf's already got the first kill. Scream's low. JW's going to round the corner. Happy's gone back toward the site. Scream's gone in behind Fork, but it's an AK picked up now for JW to complement that of Olaf Meister to smoke down. Means he can't quite peek just yet. Scream wants to play the smoke as cleverly as possible with that 3 HP.
He just wants to get one kill at this point. That'd be fine for him. He gets it. They get taken down after that. That's fine.
JW with 2. Low, though. That's going to leave it for Happy. 3 go in. 1 goes down, but none of which were the 3 players rounding onto the A side. It's Happy that falls Metal has a bomb plant. The Sixer might be trying to save it at this point in time, which means even though they got a lifeline, as you say, it's thrown back the other direction.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but Olaf Meister with the AK-47, he opens things up. There's a bit of damage. Then a nade onto Scream takes under 3 HP, means XMS has to pick up the AK at that point. He gets his head blown off, and then Scream, like I said, dropping that smoke, trying to get one kill. That's all he could really hope for with the PT-50. He gets it. The refrag comes in straight away. Fnatic swarm that A site, as you saw Happy. 3 players in front of him couldn't make it happen, and it's going to be a pretty harsh reset after the investment as well. MVS saving just a Famas. They're going to have $1,400 on top of this, and the scoreline's 13-5. They have to force by this point, base it around the Famas, hope for the best. Money is going to be very low indeed. RPK 3,500, Happy with 2,500, and the saved Famas. He can probably drop a UMP over. That's Sixer. And I think that's what he'll do. Have a little look. They might be going for the more conservative approach. I thought they were definitely going to go all in at this point. There it is. Okay. Well, a bit of last-minute investment. Let's see what they've gone down to. Yeah, they've gone all in. It was a last-minute call, so 2 Famases. Deagle, 5-7 and a CZ. I think at this point you can't really afford to. You let it go to 14-5, so you have to force around this Famas and hope for the best. Sixer did not drop a UMP though, which I find surprising. Could have been 2 Famases in a UMP, but he went for a grenade instead.
Flush is going to throw a nade in towards Scream. Get any damage possible. Toward mid he goes instead. Bomb. It's down toward T-spawn. Sixer's going to start to push. This is good information for him to gather. Scream's going to watch out toward mid. Peaks realizes that they're there. And Sixer, with a push, with RPK going with him, has a real opportunity to try and do damage, to get early information. As they continue through mid-main as well. They can spot the bomb. Do they see it though? Because I think it's on the other side of the wall. So Dennis is going to go back to try and grab that. Knows now with the smoke down, it's very likely. It's going to be a tough task, but they've not yet spotted this bomb. So Dennis is going to grab that for free. Double check to confirm that they've gone back down middle, but still they go back over toward A. This would be the call for me if I'm Dennis. Try B. The problem is they don't know which exact direction that they have gone, and RPK smartly will rotate that direction on the off chance that they do rotate back around through T-spawn.
So 5-on-3 now. NDS have found some footing into this round, but 15 seconds remaining. Olaf Meister sneaking out towards A site at this point. He needs to find multiple frags here. There's any chance Fnatic to pick up this round, and there's the start. Scream goes down, but XMS keeps on fragging with that 5-7. 2 kills found by him. Looking for the third. Still alive in that quad area. He can't find Olaf Meister. He's going to be happy that finishes off the round. 3 seconds remaining. He couldn't have won it regardless, but he was just trying to do as much economic damage towards MVS as he possibly could there. But MVS pushing towards B storage. They knew they had to make something happen there. It's the 2 Famases to push B, get some information, find the rotating players, and they get around on the board here. Another force buy for Fnatic though, of course. Galil, AK-47, Tech 9, CZ, Deagle. Not much to work with, but we've seen them win rounds with less before.
So we have Scream throws a nade that's followed by a smoke from his teammate. XMS inside of mid. He's made his way into checker room as well, so he'll hold off toward B. That'll give a bit more confidence and comfort, I guess you could say. If you're ever comfortable in war. It's the Sixer inside of the site. Good shot from Scream to catch off Olaf. Sixer, like I said, has that confidence and comfort. Just got to be a little bit careful because RPK is elected to stay passive, which means he's got to get the first information. They bypass him. Noise made though. RPK, big miss on the FAMAS.
Yeah.
He's going to grab a rifle now to the terrorists as they get closer and closer. Sixer battles around, knows there's one on the site, manages to avoid him long enough, and Scream will show up to take down Crims. That's going to make it now 7 rounds for Envy.
Yeah, just to know, RPK, really shocking performance for him tonight. 4 for 17. And another big miss by him there, but his teammates managed to hold it together just about there. It's 13-7 now. This should be an eco for Fnatic, so a chance for Envy to keep 5 players alive, start to build that bank account now, and we'll see whether they can do that. To be RPK down to $150, of course, he's playing, keep dying, so we'll see whether he can come back from the dead here. Too late, of course. Made towards B, that should do a lot of damage. Not so much, only 10 to flash there, okay. So in terms of the buy for Fnatic here, 4 Glocks, a Deagle, no nades, no armor. Just a round where they're trying to wait for a CD mistake to come in. If the Deagle can find something, that'd be great, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But Crims with the Glock somehow gets 6 there, okay, so an RPK, he's finding some confidence now, 2 frags for him.
Yeah, 2 frags for him. Unfortunately, could have happened in the last round, but this one still looks promising. Crims in battle with just about everybody as he peeks back out, and Happy's the one to find the kill to make it 13-8. Question is, now that guns are redrawn, there won't be an AWP. What does Fnatic have up their sleeves in terms of execution? Because it's a seldom we use that word to describe Fnatic, to be fair.
Well, Sixer, he does bring out the orb. We didn't see much out of him with that weapon in the first half. He goes towards B, trying to find the first pick. Like he said, no Fnatic opposition will have that weapon either to challenge him. So he has a bit more of a free reign over the map in that respect. No one towards B storage at all, though. It looks like maybe Smoke going towards middle, and Fnatic will be aiming to get area control at this position because flashes go in. The smoke's been deployed as well. JW and co waiting to go out there. It's going to be Olaf Meister joining him. You can see that veil towards middle. It's designed to take any sort of vision away from the CT, so they can't really play middle anymore. If they're not in front of those smokes, they don't really have much to work with. So they'll fall back slightly. Scream's more than willing to leave that open for now. He's just watching if he gets a position.
TW putting all the way to white box as a result. Takes a peek up highway, doesn't spot anything toward quad. See what you can gather from this situation based upon that alone. Smoke down Z connector. He's sat there long enough that it's soon to dissolve, and he has to consider that. But if he can just hold middle, it'll give them strength on A, because as the TTs are forced to move, he'll be ready to capitalize upon it. Boost as well at slide. If they back away from that, XMS could walk directly into where JW's going to play, so he might walk all the way in.
Yeah, this could get messy for Happy and co.
There's no one at truck to stop him. He's not gone just yet. Even if there is a player, I thought Olaf was going to push this. So even if there was a player there, Olaf can push through, catch him. Slide spotted, boost found, flash over, flush against both. Takes the bottom, top one falls in front, and Olaf's able to get Scream. That's going to be the round.
They're just sitting ducks at that point, aren't they? They're just hoping that boost works out for them. One flash is all it took, and they got completely wrecked on the side. They had full mid control Fnatic there, and Envious didn't really reply to it at all. They were just sitting in their kind of default stance with nothing really working in their favor. They didn't have any sort of mid control. They had no idea what they were going towards B or the A side of the map. Just holding that boost and hoping it was going to work out for them, and they got destroyed there. Flash of a decent flashbang. They had highway control as well, so they know they don't even have to look towards forklift for any of that. One smoke eradicated that risk. Went towards the bomb site, found 2. Even while blind, it's his crosshair in the same position, gets 2 for 1. And it's the RPK, and like I said, he had a bit of a stinker tonight. He won't be doing much about this situation. And there it is. It's going to be round number 14 arriving for Fnatic here. And we did say the money was starting to get into a decent position for MBS. Here's the replay right now from Flush's POV. They have no idea what's going on there, do they?
Not a clue. That just seems...
That's the kind of boost you do at the start of the round, right? You do that just...
Exactly.
You stop any sort of like initial pick when an AWP or someone rushing, that you go for their pick, and then you fall back. You don't just sit there the entire round.
No, and that's not even like lack of information. That's just lack of game sense as well, because it's one thing not to have the information, it's another to just hope that you're doing something that's going to work. Rather than try and set up for the worst case scenario.
Because you've got one player not doing anything at that point as well. You've got no mid control, so surely someone's got to watch towards highway. Like, why are you letting that be open? That doesn't make any sense that round.
And that's kind of the point, is someone's got to at least check highway. You can't just sit there and limit yourself further than you already are. You got to do something at least to spot the positions where you're likely to come under threat. RPK does manage to go through mid this time to get inside of the vent, so it won't be busted out for him to turn back and cover off B. Should be surprised Fnatic when they try and go that direction. And as of right now, the bias in the round, having lost Olaf early, suggests that they will.
Well, it's double AWP setup for MBS. They do manage to get that first pick. It's Happy, the secondary AWPer, it seems, and he'll be allowing his team to have the advantage for now. But Sixer, what a no-scope that was. RPK chiming in from the vents as well. It's going to be 3 kills. Make it 4 now for MBS. This round should be over, but Dennis, he's trying to do what he can as the last remaining player for Fnatic. That was a sick shot from Sixer. We didn't see it on the actual stream or anything. I had it on my screen. He actually was on the site, 3 players in front of him. One jumps in front of his crosshair, nails it. Real nice stuff. Wow. This game, they're starting to close the gap there, man. It was a very one-sided affair.
Yeah, 11-4 at half.
Yeah, and they keep force buying Fnatic as well. They don't want to go for the nice full buy here. They go for 3 AKs, Tech 9s and Deagles up against a double AWP setup. I'm not so sure, but I think I've said it about 1,000 times to this team, and they've always proven me wrong. So we'll see what they can do.
So 5-3 in the second half for Envious. Doesn't seem like that much of a deal, but like you say, it's closing the gap ever so slightly, giving them a chance if they can keep them on 14
Scream
as well.
just checked the boost, and he didn't see Dennis already got there, so this could be a problem.
He's already inside of Cubby. We go back down, spot JW. This is where Dennis can strike because Screamo doesn't down. That's where he can strike because they don't realize he's that close to the white box. Happy gets one back though. It stays in a 3 versus 3. And guns still favor, because Olaf's not been able to pick anything up, it still favors Envious in this situation.
Yeah, it certainly does. They have one smoke remaining up against the double orb setup of Sixer and Happy. Sixer trying to get some intel there towards middle, spams the white box, doesn't get anything for it. RPK is making sure no weapons have been taken there at this point as well. Crim's holding the vent, and that suggests, I was going to say, his teammates go towards B. They've actually gone towards Squeaky at this point, so Crim's, he'll be holding towards middle, make sure no one comes towards highway. He's been challenged by RPK and been dinked in the process as well. His teammates are out on A, but I'm going to guess Crim's goes down momentarily. He's just trying to hold them off now.
Crim's just going to just sit, swing, and try and spot towards Z, but can't get the information he's looking for. So they're able to evade, but bomb planted and limited from the site. Sixer goes down early. He's smoked off as well. Bomb continues to tick. There's kids on both. And RPK knows he's got to try and find Crims because he's waiting to lurk on highway. That's buying so much time.
Yeah, wasting it. RPK's getting played here. He knows the round's over, I think. He's just trying to get a free frag. His teammates are called to him. You don't need to come at the bench, not even challenging at this point. The round's over. Fnatic have done it with 2 AKs. And the Tech 9s, it was Dennis sneaking in towards the highway box. Screen didn't spot it. He gets one kill, which is traded straight away. And just as that trade comes in, Dennis strikes towards short. It's a player rotating, jumping as well. It was a very nice play overall. And here's the little quick scope I was talking about. Maybe I'm going to quick scope or no scope. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have a look. Boom, no scope, all day long. Takes down Flusher.
Sick.
That was pretty cool. So match point has been established for Fnatic. And now the money's getting a bit of a problem. They do save a couple of weapons. The M4 for RPK and Happy on the AWP, but you can see the teammates struggling there. UMP for Sixer and XMS is down to a Deagle here. This could be match over in this round, number 10. It's a very dominant performance in the first half from Fnatic, but Envious have shown some signs of life here in the second half. As Happy got enough in the tank to do something in his AWP.
Dennis boosted up already, gonna try and swing out. There is just a FAMAS, or excuse me, I say a FAMAS. It's the modern day FAMAS.
The modern day
FAMAS, yeah, the UMP. For the Renaissance man. It's going to be the Deagle as well for XMS, and that's all they've got to work with. They have to force buy into it. So Fnatic look to take this the first best of 1 of 2. Olaf already making his way well within the A side. Pushing back 30, finds Happy. That door opened inwardly. There's a chance for Happy to try and get aggressive. Gone already.
Good luck, Sixer. 4 on 1. Happy was your only life on that round, really using Squeaky Door. Got his head blown off, and it's now going to be 16-9. If he wins this, I'll retire now. You can find someone else.
An entire bottle of Vegemite. Well, you don't need to. Crims has got Sixer down. You don't need to eat the leather of an old shoe. And it's going to be Fnatic taking the first map, Henry.
They looked very good throughout that. Fnatic didn't have to sweat too much. To be fair, from MBS, I wasn't really happy at their T-side at all. No pun intended. And they just defaults throughout, didn't really look like they were going to get going at all. RPK have a horrible performance overall. No executions, defaults all the way. They had a couple of good rounds. Scream, Smont's come to mind. He goes towards middle, finds 4 kills. But apart from that, nothing really to write home about. So I'm a little bit disappointed with MVS' performance. Rough night of Counter-Strike for them overall.
Yeah, I think a very rough night. But that said, speaking of rough nights, we've got a man who's rough every night on the desk. Jason, that's you.
This guy's brilliant, playing Witcher 3 all day and then coming in and talking smack. It's unreal. But yes, we are very disappointed in that Envious T side. It was tough going for them. Fnatic seemed to have the read. We mentioned it on Pistol Round. They did the exact same Pistol Round that you highlighted in the pregame segment. So I don't know if that suggests that's kind of their go-to, or maybe just a lack of innovation going on.
Or I did really good analysis.
Or you did, I mean,
so smart. So
option
smart.
C. You've opened a third door, Chad. Well done.
And I think the overall disappointing thing for me is, I think we can apply it to Cash a little bit, but I think it spans across the entirety of what we're seeing from this team now, the French side, is that you kind of hope that this would set a fire beneath them, you know what I mean? Like after that shuffle coming out in the, I guess, less than ideal team, right? And just kind of like spur them to actually put some work in.
Yeah.
And it feels like there's nothing new here. They've gone, okay, we had that one good game against the one team that kind of screwed us over a little bit, and then we've lost everything that kind of like sparked it in us. There's just not much there for us.
Yeah, and I mean, just to add on to losing everything, they did lose. I mean, I think Mitch highlighted in that segment, they did lose the Starlighter qualification to Hellraisers. They lost that 2-1.
Yeah, you know there's going to be a few people who are not too happy after that. That's a big LAN event to be going to, you know, and then go into having to play this match, you're going to be a bit upset with how things went. It looked like, you know, they had a really rough start, which they obviously did. I think pointing out, Lauren said before we got into that game, the double ults of Fnatic, super important. I'd love people to keep track, or like maybe we'll do it, it's our job, I guess, of how Fnatic go when they get pissed around and get the double ults up early, because it looks like they're much more successful. NIP were able to maintain and control that economy yesterday when we saw them play, and they couldn't get those double ults up. And when they did, that's when we saw the minimal success they had, and then they were instantly punished for it. So if that's going to be a crutch for the new Fnatic, new old Fnatic, then that's not a great sign. But we did see, like, they didn't really need it on that T side so much. It was, you know, good play with the AKs getting in there, trading well.
Well, also, I mean, the benefit of the double op that I saw on the CT side at least was that, you know, if Envy's going to be running some of these like really heavy entry, like 4 players trying to bust into a site, if the ops are hitting their opening shots, that's a lot less dangerous. And there was just no answer to that from the Envy side.
This is one of the best maps as well to run double ops on the CT side. You know, you can play the AWP any spot on the map, and you can use it aggressively, passively. You can anchor, you can play a 1-3-1 setup, because you can just have an AWP at either bomb site and 3 people locking down mid. It's great.
Yeah, is that? I mean, I mentioned that I think maybe some of the struggles can't catch us because teams just really don't like playing it. I don't think there's a single team that comes to mind that you would identify as like a cash team, right? Like Train for a time was SK. Train, Astralis looking very good. Virtus probably you could say is the Train team, but like, there's no cash team. And I guess it would be Fnatic just because they like to play it, but it's not because they necessarily have any great string of results on it.
I'm trying to think of like any team that applies to. You're right. It's kind of gone that full cycle, hasn't it?
Yeah.
You know, every team kind of got good at it. A couple got specialists at it, and then it kind of fell out of favor. No one wanted to play any of the specialist teams on it, so it just got vetoed against them, and then it just it's fallen out of favor. So I'd like to see a team kind of come in and innovate maybe a little bit on.
This is a good chance for Na'Vi to put it in the map pool then, if no one's fantastic at it.
Keep dreaming, buddy.
This is the time.
Keep dreaming. We've been hoping for years that they would just secretly get really, really good on it, just bust it out at a critical moment. Hasn't happened, but either way. Envy dropped that first map to Fnatic. The good news for them is that Train is coming next, and that is the one map they beat Hellraisers on in that series that they lost to qualify for Star Ladder. So when we return, we'll see if they can beat Fnatic on it as well.
Shaping up to be a good season, gaining from it. I don't think the old lineup would have been able to do what Cloud9 did when they work their way up those T steps, as you saw a moment ago, they do run into a nade thrown from Boiler there, which is going to bring Stan and Nitro down just a little bit. Nothing huge. 40 HP is pretty decent against Stan, but only like 15 off of Nitro. And for the rest of the squad here, again, still lined up to it, but they do end up evacuating outside of the apartments. And this goes into the slow style of play that we often see here with Inferno, where they do kind of have to wait up the smokes and run to the timer. They've done really zero work to try and keep control of Banana, though. So as you can see, Ricky's pushed all the way up right now behind the wall. He should be able to hear these guys rushing towards him in a moment, and that'll lead to the deployment of the Molotov. Once again, holding Team Liquid back, as they did want a little bit of control here, but so far, nothing really working out for them, as they've been unable to successfully move in and take control of really anything significant across the map.
Yeah, very passive setup from CLG right now. Great shot by Kusta at Arch. Now we can kind of fall back. That makes this round really difficult for Liquid, playing 4v5, being spread out like this. But if Kusta re-aggresses, he might get caught by a Tech 9.
Kusta just going to be falling back here, assuming that they'll chase him. And he's right about that. In fact, doing some massive damage here. Picks up a second kill. Finally knocked out by Nitro there, as they do end up chasing him, and now they're going to go for a bit of a B-split. Ricky, unfortunately, swung a bit wide, so he gets taken down, and Finesse is not really there with the spray, so he, as well, is going to get knocked out by Elige. Site control for them. They do have a man advantage, but it's only a slight one here. Elige at 1 HP. Probably not going to be super active here in the post-plant situation. For Ethan and Cutler, though, both of them are already routing their way up Banana, trying to sneak back in, and they're going directly at it, too. No time to strategize about that with that extra smoke they had sitting on Cutler. They're just going directly back into the site. Elige, he was the easy one. Now it's the remaining two that are going to be the real problem, as they hide both in Church and over there towards the new box. And Pimp had done a great job of keeping himself quiet up to that point. Cutler basically just gone on a wild goose chase for either of these frags if he can find them, and he's being taken around the Church, ring around the Rosie here for him. It's just not looking like it's going to work out unless he can somehow clutch these 2 kills out. Nope, won't be happening. Pimp closes it out, and on the eco upset, Liquid are going to bring this up to 1-1.
I mean, it was looking great after Kusta made it 4v5 with that shot. I'm not sure why he re-aggresses there. I know he gets that kill, and he actually was pretty fortunate to get that kill and get that second kill before he went down. At the end of the day, though, Ricky and FNS, Ricky started moving his position at a very bad time, and that's just another one of those mental errors. That's a small mistake. If Ricky just stays in this spot and just waits where he just knows he's going to get 1 kill, they win that round. FNS, over-peeking a headshot angle, just these very small mistakes, costing CLG these games. So we saw them win countless anti-ecos, or you know, on their own ecos rather, last night. So we'll see if they can continue with that.
And Kusta is going to be sneaking up closer to try to play. He is spotted first off. Thankfully gets some assistance from Finesse, but still quickly traded out in the open regardless by Elige. And now Finesse trying to hide back in the open. He was hoping they got a little bit closer in that situation, but no. Nitro's going to keep it at range to be able to take him down without losing any more of their own players. That's a pretty clean take with the exception of the loss of Pimp. And unfortunately it happens so quickly that even with CLG trying to wrap back around here, I doubt they'll be able to do much besides post up frags. It's more than likely you are going to be looking at a second round for Team Liquid in a moment here.
Yeah, but that was actually well played by Kusta. He spotted, he threw the smoke, he got behind the smoke, killed JDM. Had FNS maybe played more towards first oranges and maybe gotten 1 or 2 more when they came through the smoke. And if Liquid doesn't spam Kusta after he kills Pimp jumping through the smoke, I mean, that could be a completely different round. So that was a nice way to play B. It was very clever. As soon as he sees him, he smokes it off, gets in front of the smoke, and I like what he did there. Obviously, they still lose the round, but that was a chance where they could have won the round. That could have been a hold. And I like the way they played that.
And coming off of that force now, CLG are going to be just transitioning into more than likely a full save here. Obviously, Ethan has the P250 armor pickup from the previous round, so he's still going to be working with that. For the rest of them, they need to save up for the first gun round here. So it is going to be Liquid that do end up taking a bit of an early advantage here at the beginning of the map. Small one, of course, is the first gun round is really going to determine the way that things will fly, especially now that the economy's gone all sorts of crazy here. But at the very least, Liquid do get a few rounds to work with. And for Ricky, well, his unlucky streak from last night is going to continue back over here by the car position. He gets naded out right from the start. Kusta has a nice position, though, to take down Leash from pretty long range, actually. He was over there in alt mid, I think, and he took him down over on top of the bridge further down. So eliminates him, brings it to a 4v4. Unfortunately, no one was here to defend the B-bomb site, so in the process of that kill happening, Liquid just walked right up. They've got the plan, and that should be the round for them.
Yeah, FNS will probably do his best just to save this AK. He's all the way in T-spawn already, so he's just on a mission to save that. Kusta, just a USP'er across the map, takes out another one. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so 2 super long-range USP kills. I think down to 4 HP, though, he's pretty much going to be out of the mix if he's not low on ammo already. But for the rest of the team, they still have positions if they want to try to bait Team Liquid into pursuing them. They could overwhelm at least 1 or 2 more guys possibly here as they just slowly try to whittle down. There's still that back left corner there from Cutler where he's going to try to swing back out. It seems like they've got it under control, maybe. Oh, they do sneak in another one at the hands of Cutler here. But Nitro moving out, taking down Cutler. And I mean, considering that was a full save.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic eco round by CLG. Even with the USBs, it seems they're able to get a considerable amount of damage done on every eco round that they play.
Shots from Booster really didn't even have great vision looking back there either. So a great spot from him. And FNS is even going to be able to save himself a little bit of cash going into the gun round now, so he gets himself a full utility buy. He will also, just as a side note there too, he's going to have the only kit right now for CLG, so this is going to limit their ability on retakes a little bit as well if they don't play this smart positionally speaking. But immediately into the next gun round, we can see more aggressive positioning being taken up by CLG. Team Liquid not trying to do anything crazy at the start for themselves, just moving into the apartments pretty much as we expect, and putting some pressure on the banana, but for the most part, looking like they're going to shape up to take some sort of A control pretty quickly, as they're already all the way up the long haul here, looking for a path back out. There's that new flash that goes out over there to blind the players in pit, and partially on the site too. It's Cutler holding the first frag here. They try to line it for more. Ethan gets not 1, but 2 on a Nitro and Pimp. There's 1 more T still hanging out in the balcony. He is going to use this soak to give him a little bit more breathing room in the situation, but at the moment, it is CLG basically in full control. All the T's have is going to be the pit area, and it's not even the entire pit either. It's just this little tiny crevice over here, along with JDM back over here at the porch, and on his peak, he immediately goes down. Elijah's stuck here, and all the CTs know it, so it's just a matter of eliminating him. They'll obviously take it a little bit slowly here, just so they can make sure they take as few losses as possible, but in the end, it's their round once again, as they shoot up to 2.
Yeah, a double site setup from CLG there, so a lot of focus is going to be put on the pit when they're coming out of the halls. Nobody being there, they're able to, you know, I think they got 2 kills, and Ethan was also stayed alive, maybe even 3 kills if Cutler got one, I'm not sure. So a really nice hold by CLG, and they were ready for that. They weren't playing mid very aggressively. They were already back in sight. They didn't have anybody stuck at porch or anything. And had they had somebody porch, that porch guy definitely could have died because they jumped out halls towards porch. He would probably be looking at middle. So the double site setup was a good read by them.
Pinball is getting clipped off here if he tries to jump past Crossroads over here. As there's still the op presence from Kusta over at long. It'll then be tested, but there's a pretty deep smoke getting in the way of things now, so I doubt he'll be able to hit anything else unless he somehow gets a read onto these players here. But the connection on the Pimp early on is good. Unfortunately, Team Liquid not really going to be playing into that until the smoke fades away. It does look like JDM is looking into it right now to possibly challenge things in a second. He's got to be very careful about it, but we'll see how Kusta fares against this. He is going to be challenged in a moment. He tries to go for the timing shot after being flashed, but misses it. He's really up in the open there. I think it was jumped up. So it's actually a pretty easy frag for JDM to get on the repeat there. Now that's essentially the entire site too. This needs to be fast rotations. The Molotov works there to eliminate Stanisl, and Finesse gets himself to a very quick position over here in the garden. He picks up a second, so I'm surprised actually they are able to hold this off, at least temporarily. The remaining Ts are still going to be able to flush back in, and the guys from CLG aren't going to be stupid about things. They don't hold the same position. They fall back a little bit, change up the game, and in fact, Ricky getting boosted up on top of the flower pot. He catches Elige with a grenade in hand. Now it's a quick trade from JDM, so still a 3v2, but both of these Ts have already been hit on the Team Liquid side here. They have no further utility to try and smoke off towards CT, molly things off, but oh no, Pimp just shoots his own teammate right in the back of the head, and now he's alone, so Cutler's gonna waltz right in, and there you go. It's the retake from CLG as they'll tie this matchup.
Wrecked. JDM deserved it. How dare you entry Kusta like that?
Just teaching him a lesson right there.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that rotate comes from the so quickly taking construction control. That was like a perfect rotate. You saw Ricky throws the Molotov, he spams through the smoke, gets a kill. FNS immediately runs to construction. He kind of just plays an angle. They're not going to expect him there when that guy's already spamming and mollying from Swan, right? And it just works out very, very nicely for him. So now Liquid going to be on a save, just walks and P250s. They have the double op set up onto CLG. So this is like a must-win round. This is when you cannot have one of those mental mistakes. If you win this round, you win it clean, you're going to be very well set up to have a successful CT side.
Early nades, once again, from the CT side are actually pretty well placed here. It's not only one that connects over here onto Pimp, knocking off 30 of his health, but an up shot through the floor and into the mini pit outside of Mexico. It connects onto Nitro there, bringing him down to 36 after everything is said and done. So once again, CLG getting some nice damage numbers in. That'll make holding off the actual take a little bit easier. Team Liquid still going very directly, though, into these sites. Not want to try and switch things up again. And play separately. They are basically just going to all push in through the mid choke point and try to split around the wraps right here. As we can see Ricky getting ready for it. He certainly knows something's in the way, but the smoke obviously not letting him see a whole lot. He knows they got close, however, so he goes to the pistol, holds one, holds two. He's got an angle on a third, but his teammate's going to swing in to try and finish things off, and they succeed. So all that's left is JDM. It takes Ethan a second there, but he does get the kill on the JDM, spinning around as well. As now CLG will take the lead here.
Yeah, and that's what they needed, man. Just win that round clean, get your economy going. Inferno is one of the maps where the utility that you use is so important, like smokes and Molotovs, especially going back to the old Inferno, but it still is true on this Inferno as well. Like, you know, even a banana, you could do a well-placed molly and completely stop any type of an execute, right? As long as you get it in the middle there. So utility is so important on this map. So winning rounds clean, making sure you have smoke, double flash, mollies is just of utmost importance.
And for Ricky here now, he is going to wait to see if he can find, since Team Liquid have been no strangers to going in for early control of the apartments here, smoking it back off. Re-peeking it would be a little bit dangerous, so he's going to try to pop flash out. I think Vision's going to be a tad bit of a problem, though, as when he does swing around, he doesn't catch Nitro. When Nitro sees him, knocking him out, JDM, I think he realizes they are trying to go for a bit of a boost up here to look for him as Kusta sits on top, but again, no real connection onto these CTs, so the upper from the T side, he does just resolve to fall back over towards the crossroads.
This is a good play by him.
Kusta, though, now sitting up on top of the wall and looking to see if he can catch him on a re-peek. Or does that right go for it? It doesn't look like anything's going to happen, though. Liquid fall away from that completely, and they're all grouped up in mid to try and regress through A once again.
Yeah, but they're set up well now. FNS full rotated. They still have two in the site. They have two Molotovs and a smoke as well.
As they move themselves back over here now, Finesse will be the first one to get challenged or have to change his position, but there's nowhere for him really to go until one of those smokes fades away. He's also smoked out towards arches here, so he may just actually have to go directly through it. You can see him trying to sneak back in. This is all going to come down to timing in reality here. Molotov on the other side kind of screws him over. He gets knocked out, and overall it's all Liquid here right now. Kusta already down to just him as the last man standing, and there's not much that he can do as there was no hold at all from the CTs on the site itself. All they dispatched of was Nitro. So for Kusta, he's going to have no choice but to fall back and save and let Liquid tie the game up again.
Yeah, and it might be a good idea to try to get some exits, unless he's anticipating that they're going to chase him, because Liquid's money isn't great, and COG will be able to buy next round, regardless of whether he dies or not. Having said that, COG, what they did at B was they gave themselves a chance to win the round. Kusta got aggressive. He was the only one there. FNS rotated. Unfortunately, the smokes were on point for Liquid. The take was very well done, and the site hold, you know, just was not anything to brag about, right? They pretty much only killed Nitro, like we saw. But that play at B was very smart by them. They gave themselves a chance to win the round. Kusta got aggressive. He took ground. He took information. It allowed FNS to go back to A. That very well could have been a COG round win.
But off of that, still, Liquid battle back. Now it has taken us into forced-in investment for CLG as they empty things out. Still leads them into a full buy, though. In fact, they are even able to go for the double op setup here. Kusta and Ricky, once again, being the two oppers to play that on CLG, as you would generally expect. Decent utility across the board, too. A little bit limited in some respects, but nothing huge. Just missing a couple flashbangs here and there. They still have a lot of Molotovs and smokes to play with. Meanwhile, on the T side, as mentioned previously, Team Liquid pretty much in the same exact boat here, as both teams are sitting on the edge of an economy break, and it would allow for finally one of these two teams to take a slight edge if they should be able to completely wipe the board on this gun round.
Yeah, we see CLG going back to the double op setup, and they're taking a risk. They're playing retake B. Ricky's there by himself. They have 4 towards A, and essentially a triple porch setup. FNS is kind of responsible for the hulls, and he could just watch it and then swing porch if action starts, you know, going down over there.
So Liquid again starting their round off by trying to sneak through the choke point here, which in past rounds has been relatively easy, but this time they are going to be challenged on the porch itself. Cutler waiting, sitting there to see. Hiding out of sight right now, but he does have teammates that can also swing back out and work as a distraction for him to multi-frag if the positioning ends up working out here. But it's all very silent up until this point when Cutler finally decides he's had enough of the waiting, and FNS joins in the fun. 3 fast kills for CLG. Elise tried to swing out to Boiler and trade, but they're not having any of that. The entire hit just gets completely wrecked over at the mid choke point, and Stan is still smoked out at long haul, so he can't do anything to respond to this. He's alone, and with 25 seconds left, we'll have to see what he'll attempt to do, but winning the round is probably not going to be one of those things. I feel that at the very least taking out 1 or 2 players here. He just hopes the nade will connect onto enough damage, but nope. And his attempt to swing out towards Boiler. It's an easy frag for one of those 3 players from CLG to pick up and now take serious advantage over Team Liquid.
Perfectly played by CLG. You saw, I believe it was Cutler underneath the porch. As soon as he makes contact, you swing. You're going to get trade kills all day like that, especially if they don't Molotov it and they're not really ready for it, which they really weren't. They really were not in position to contest that triple port setup. Now COG, they're force buying 3 AKs, a couple Tech 9s going quick towards B with 1 in alt mid.
And we can see them trying to go all the way up towards Car right from the start of this one. Stan had been hit. Finesse is going to finish the job there. The rest will get mollied off. That molly may still leave a little bit of room for them to try and sneak through. Oh, excuse me, it was still positioned in a good enough spot, so it is going to block them off there for the extra seconds. Allow for the fallback on CLG. No rotations from CLG on the A site, however. They're all still sticking around until up to this point when I think Kust is going to get called over through arches. So they may group up. However, the possibility of them now falling back and going to A is going to come alive here for Team Liquid.
I don't think Kusa should over-rotate here because FNS has a molly. But the way they should play it is that Ricky should spot and FNS should just have the molly out. And if he sees anything, you just throw it. They cannot take the site, and then Kusta could still have 10 seconds or so to rotate. And you'll know how many are there generally in that type of a situation.
Kusta, though, after not really hearing anything else at B, seems to be swinging back, although a little bit slowly. He's not going to get anything from the library position anyway, so it still falls to the pit players to hold things back off. They will be overwhelmed, though, as all the remaining 4 from Liquid are moving in, but they still manage to hold it. Beautiful sprinting control from Cutler as he gets 3 in 1 clip, and Kusta arrives just in time to finish off the last one.
Yeah, and COG showing great positioning on Inferno so far. That was the first round that we saw Ethan not play on the top left box in sight there. Well, he was on porch, he was boosted above when they did the triple porch. It was actually like a quad porch setup. Or no, triple porch, sorry. And then I think Kusta was arch when they did that. But, you know, he's been playing that spot almost every single time. That time moved towards the backup pit. Wasn't able to get a kill, but still, you know, you got to switch it up. Liquid's going to realize what you're doing pretty quickly when they see you there like every single round.
Speaking of Liquid, they will be completely broken here, so all they carry in terms of a buy into the 11th round is going to be P250s, and they've already lost 1 player due to the aggressive push from Ethan out through the mid choke. The rest of them kind of falling back through Mexico and alt mid, trying to get their way over here towards B and make some attempt to overwhelm that site, since there's more than likely going to be less players waiting there for them. They're correct in that assumption, but still, it's just P250s and a Glock sitting on JDM. The hopes are still not looking great. Good timing on the flashbang there. It does blind the first initial volley of players is moving in, and it's basically just turning into a shooting gallery for the B site players. Already down to JDM. The most damage they've done is 10 to Kusta, so it's looking like another clean one for CLG to establish some sort of an economy as they pick up yet another round.
Yeah, and CLG putting together a nice CT side here. I mean, they're playing good. This is what you expect to see with the way they play. They're giving themselves chances to win rounds. They play well positionally, and they're just not making these you know, ridiculous mental errors that we kind of saw last night. And when you don't make those errors, look what happens. You're 7-4 with a nicely built economy against one of the best teams in North America.
Team Liquid really struggling here to actually get something done on their T side. So 4 rounds, relative success being found here or there. Keep in mind, most of their rounds is due to the fact that they upset it against Team Liquid in the second round, where they forced up there and were able to upset, breaking CLG directly after that when they attempted to reforce and then took a few rounds off of them. I think beyond that, we've really only seen 1 or 2 gun rounds that they've managed to actually pick up here against CLG. So it still has been the CTs controlling the situation for the majority of this half, and there's not a lot of time left to make up for that. As once again, they put a lot of players in the halls initially here in the apartments, but no real movement in the early round to try and take some serious control.
Yeah, and this is what COG is doing really well. Look at their utility. They have 4 Molotovs. If Liquid does any type of a take and they just spot and throw any type of a Molotov, it should be a round over, right? Any type of like group up type take. So what do you do if you're Liquid? You have 50 seconds left. You haven't taken any map control. They still have all their utility. What's the game plan here for Liquid? Because this all signs point to a COG round win.
And immediately there is going to be those Molotovs when we could see Nitro and some of the other guys trying to press forward a little bit here. Time getting very low. What is Liquid going to do? They're still kind of stuck over here in mid, trying to form some sort of a plan as they have players messing around at the exit to Boiler and Long Halls. No actual sense of any sort of execute coming in here anytime soon. Would be hilarious if they attempted to do that, but it does look like they're going to make a last-ditched attempt to roll in towards A here. Granted, CLG haven't got this intel up to this point either, but well, they have nothing to cover off Library, so Ricky, he's free to peek back out. Good timing on the flashbang, completely blind Stanislaw. Pip trying to move in. He does go to mind game him a little bit there to be able to pick up the kill, and Nitro finds another kill, but now, do they have enough time to get the bomb onto the site? Yeah. They do, just barely. Somehow it works out for Liquid, and now we go to a 3v2 retake where the guys from CLG on the B site, they're just arriving here right now. They had no clue, so this super delayed take has actually worked out right here for Team Liquid. Now it's going to be 2 ops trying to retake here onto the site, but actually no, they're not even going to go for that. They're just going to give it up, and they're going to let Liquid have the round.
That should never happen. One of the key mistakes that was made there was that they double mollied Halls as soon as that smoke came out. And that's the second time I saw them do that. They double mollied Porch and they double mollied Halls. Do you remember when Liquid came up Porch and Cutler got like a 3K in the pit? They double mollied Porch in that situation. You don't need to do that. Just one of you needs to molly. If just one of them, that's one of those mental errors that we're talking about. That small mistake. I don't care how the kills went down. The kills are going to be the easiest thing in the world if you timed your mollies properly. If there was one molly Halls, and then you saved your molly and you maybe threw a Porch or Arch or Halls while they were wrapping. It's just how the game works, right? Those small mistakes, CLG just can't escape them.
And so that has brought down the money a little bit here for CLG, but granted, most of them were sitting somewhere between 7 and 10K. Ricky missed what should have been actually a fairly easy shot there out in mid. unfortunately is to fall back with no connection to his name. The rest of Liquid, while they have choke point control, they've been really fond of trying to push this in the early round, but that is after the missed shot from Ricky going to cause a Molotov to be tossed back out here, and they use that to try and delay things on the Team Liquid side for a few seconds. They'll succeed in that, but still, the early round once again, it's pretty much business as usual for Team Liquid currently.
Yeah, very unfortunate miss by Ricky because it doesn't punish that fast play. It actually hurts COG a lot because they used like 3 Molotovs to stop anything quick and used all their utility. So that advantage that they had the round before, you know, where they had all those nades late round, it's not going to be the same this round. You know, they already used almost every smoke except for 1. They already used almost every Molotov besides 2, and that's a very big deal when you play Inferno.
Yeah, Ricky is going to be more than likely challenged again here as Team Liquid do get prepared to try and go for another rat play here to sort of overwhelm the A site. Plays over here towards the library side, though, might be somewhat limited. Thankfully, CLG did still have a few Molotovs, so they can wait it up for a few more seconds, but Ricky again challenged. He hits the connection this time, but it is going to be just a leg shot onto Stan, only bringing him down to 15 HP, so he stays alive. Now Ethan prepares for the hit play. Good shot from Nitro there to find Cutler, but he does get dinked in the process, and now Ethan's still alive on the site, but they also took out Ricky on the other side of this, so Ethan's stuck in a corner with really nowhere to go. They knew he was going to have to try and retreat from that top box somewhere, so Elige just goes for the full-on spray down, and Ethan walks right into it, giving them the connection and putting us into another 4v2, where I don't think CLG are going to go for it again. They're more than likely just going to line up for, in Finesse's case, they might try to find a couple exits, but Kust is saving the op 100%.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a full A exec. COG wasting their utility, they're wasting their nades, and those nades are they're gonna give them rounds if they just use them properly and they use their utility properly. Instead, they're being very wasteful for it, and they're getting heavily punished because of it.
And Finesse will be challenged here in a second as Stan walks out, finding at least the first kill there. He was already low though, so not the biggest deal in the world. Trying to change up his position a bit here as he goes into the T apps now. Look for a few more pickups, but Liquid, they've pretty much made it outside of the site. Nitro just barely surviving the bomb's explosion there with only 3 HP. I think that's it, though. Everybody else has their own little safe space. And after that, we won't see any more deaths. So 6-7 going into the 14th round. Still an extremely close game.
Look at FNS's scoreline. Only 3 deaths in these past 13 rounds. And B has been pretty solid for CLG. I mean, the one round that I believe it was Kusta died and they took the site, but they weren't able to even get the bomb down because FNS and Ricky had such a good rotate. I mean, it's just been this A. This A has been very problematic for him, and so Kusta goes down to 7 HP. That's not a good start for this round.
Yeah, huge molly damage going on to him right from the beginning of it. And yeah, I mean, this sort of explains why Liquid considerably have been going for just these mid choke point control, long health control on almost every single round here, since B has been so well defended on almost every single round so far. So they've been very hesitant to even attempt to go for some sort of a B play, which has left players like Finesse out of the action for a majority of these rounds here. This time, though, I think CLG may be catching on to that as, once again, they just leave Ricky over there to defend B, and they've rotated some of the other guys onto A as they just foreplay here. Kusta has found his first
like a
shot.
Molotov like that is just, there's no reason to do that. Why are you just Molotoving ports there? You have 4 people at A. They haven't even thrown any nades yet. Why do you do that? It makes no sense.
At the very least, it is going to draw some attention over there towards Boiler as he comes out, so it allows for Cutler to get the free peek on the other side. Ricky unscopes at just the wrong moment, though, so it is going to allow them to shuffle into B for free. And finally, they make an attempt at it, and they do it at a perfect round when there is essentially no one home to defend it. As Ricky backs up there, gets a little bit unlucky with his timing, and because of that, that gives the guys from Team Liquid the free plant. They're still working with a 3-on-5 scenario, though, so they're not out of the woods just yet. As everyone from CLG is already alive, Kus is going to be hanging back towards CT. They're trying to take some long-range shots if anybody does peek out onto the site. But the rest, 3 of them, in fact, are in the church trying to rack back in, where the other one is still working his way from CT. There's Ricky already finding one of the 3 Ts. Stanislav gets flashed up on top of that corner boost. Nowhere for him to go, and Pimp, he's going to get mollied out of emo corner. So while Pimp does pick up 1 frag against Ethan, that's all they'll get. And again, it's CLG retaking control as they go up to 8.
Great retake by CLG, and they had the Molotovs, they had the nades, so that retake could be pretty routine. It's pretty easy when you have construction control. You have a couple mollies, you know where they could be, right? They can't be in construction, so they have to just be in just a few places. So pretty easy retake for them. And Ricky did a good job of just kind of staying alive. I think that unscope, although unfortunate, I think the best thing to do there is actually to play an even more passive angle and just kill them when they go near the spindle and they just have no idea that you're there because you do have the op, right?
Yeah.
It's usually just a free kill. But
Good nade early on. Again, pretty significant damage. It's about 75, I think, across
triple
both
op
the
setup
players.
for CLG.
They're playing 2 of them, if I read that correctly. Yeah, 2 of them over there are going to be on Beast. They only have ops currently to defend the B bomb site with. A lot of utility, of course, and I think we mentioned that at a few points on the half, that they've been pretty good at controlling the utility, with the exception of a couple of rounds where the ops missed their initial shots, and that did lead to Team Liquid getting control. But now they are going to start to shift their way in. They haven't been able to detect them going across this smoke just yet, as Finesse just sits here and patiently waits for the impending hit. No signs of a fallback really from Team Liquid. And meanwhile, in terms of the utility, well, they've pretty much already used everything for the 2 guys that are sitting here from CLG. Kusta's one more smoke to utilize, and that may get tossed out right now, but Finesse is going to sink his first shot. Kusta, no sign of the smoke, but he does connect a kill onto the bomb carrier, which means reinforcements should start working their way over here. Still pretty slow and delayed, though, and the smokes are just going to cover off the backside here. What's even worse is, oh, beautiful shot from Pimp as he just catches Kusta on a whim check to his left side. He even hit Finesse down to 22 HP, so he's got nothing to do with trying to hold off this plant right now. They still have a man advantage. The CLG are going to rock their way back in. Pimp, though, finding another shot, evens it out, and Nitro gives them back the advantage as they take him out. So Cutler and Ricky somehow going to try to force their way back in. Initial flashbang, not too good, but Ricky hits the shot against Nitro here. Church control also being there, so in a moment, Cutler's going to be able to contribute a little bit more from the garden over here as Ricky tries to move back in. It's a little bit too brash, and oh! Pimp hits not only the shot onto Ricky, but also swings out after being mollied out to finish off the round as well. So beautiful stuff from Pimp there on that final round. Guys, stick around here as we have ourselves a close match, and the second half is coming up right after the break.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
And welcome back again. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Team Liquid taking on CLG, and it's actually a relatively close match after CLG's somewhat poor performance versus Energy yesterday. One might have expected going into this one that Team Liquid would have really wiped the floor here with CLG on all these mistakes. And while we are still seeing a few of those mistakes, they've actually come out rather strong, and I think for the majority of the half, they were looking to be in control of the situation. Few mess-ups here and there, though, and it has left the scoreline basically head-to-head still going into the second half.
Yeah, I think if COG just had a little bit better utility usage, it's a big improvement on what I saw yesterday, actually. I think they played better today. But a little bit better utility usage and communication on when to use your nades and why you use your nades, and actually have a thought process behind it instead of just burning it for no reason when they're just sitting there, Liquid's not doing anything, and you just toss something while they're still setting up into something. And I think COG probably wins that half like 11-4. Just that small difference, because at this level, those small differences are huge differences. You know, there's those tiny little things.
Well, for CLG here, we will see most of their players shaping up to try and push up into some kind of an A lineup early on. We've already got 3 guys going in towards T-Halls here. And actually, they've done something I've never seen this before attempted. Stan and Pimp are boosted on top of each other at the edge of the long house. Let's see if this works. They get one. There's more on the way, though, and it's immediately traded back out on one of them. Stan runs out of ammo.
I think there's a reason why we haven't seen that before, Blue.
Yeah.
I think there's a reason.
Seems like it's a bit too chaotic for Team Liquid to control there, and they do end up losing that battle. But rotations are coming in pretty quickly. It's interesting, though, is all the rotations are coming in on the flank side, as they just rush down Banana from the B-bomb side and all push their way back in from the other end of it. But regardless, CLG seem ready for it. Great nade going into the back here. Knocks off a good, 70 to 80 HP off of 2 players. And for Liege, he's hunting to see if he can find the headshot of Finesse or someone else here. They're sneaking back in, but Finesse holds the line, knocks out Liege up on top of the balcony there. Ethan just super wide peak, but he doesn't care as he takes out JDM, and Finesse once again from the pit, finishing the job against Nitro to allow CLG to control the lead going into the second half.
Again, man, FNS's pistol is just showing up every pistol round that we cast this guy. He's multi-fragging, he's doing his job, he's making plays. I think he ended the round with 2 there, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there's a reason we don't see that very often, because it's not good.
Didn't go so well.
No, it's just not very good.
Well, after wiping that off, Team Liquid do go into the usual second round here. It's actually still relatively light on quite a few players. It's kind of back and forth here. Let me take a look at who is invested into who, and Ethan just goes right in. Great transfers. He's assisted from the backside a little bit there by Ricky. And while JDM does sneak in a trade frag onto Cutler, it's of little consequences. They still control a 4v1 post plant, and all Nitro has is a CZ coming in on the rotate from Library.
Well played, though, by CLG. Quick, easy anti-eco for them. Liquid had a good positioning, though, but obviously the kill just didn't go their way. When you see the HP on CLG, right, that could have gone differently. But good on them for winning that very clean. The thing that they need to notice right now, and they hopefully do, is that JDM had a USP. All that means is that he's going to have an op next round, like certainly. He will 100% have an op right now. He just had a USP, and that's something you got to keep in the back of your head. So whenever you're playing in those anti-eco scenarios, that's one of the things you want to look out for on that second round. Does that guy have pistol armor? Does he have a deagle? What type of gun does he have? Because then you can predict what type of weapon you're going to go up against the following round. Or not the following round, but the round after.
Yeah, the gun round.
Yeah.
So CLG, again, just really molly and nade the hell out of the old car position there. Good initial peek as they all just try to push their way out over here, and they actually end up getting the better trade out of it, leaving that into a 4v3. Still, though, the situation, I would think that CLG would have just fallen back and immediately rushed this onto B, but at the same time, Liquid also expected that too. So as we can see, they've all kind of rotated in pretty quickly, but CLG still biting into the B play there. So they're going to be going up against this big stack from Team Liquid, -1 player, of course. Over here on B, if they do decide to go for the switch. They're moving into it now. They have spotted the 1 player towards CT, and they'll challenge him, but they've also got more challenge coming from the Garden up close here, and I'm not sure if they 100% realize it. Thankfully for them, Team Liquid are not going to push out against it currently as there's a smoke in their way, and that's just adding too much risk to the situation. What they did do, though, is they boosted up a leash, just get another spot on the CLG. The Nets brought down to 20. Let's see if this nade does any serious damage. It does take down 1. Leash and Stan are both also at like the same HP. They're 13 and 11 on the 2 of them, and while Pimp is rotated in, and CLG having good post-plant positions here. Molotov being utilized to just waste even more time as well. There's no kit sitting on any one of the 3 remaining Liquid players. Yeah, as they try to just hold them in. They pick up 1 frag, but the trades there should allow for CLG. Again, they're going to win the round, but as you said, if they can at the very least take them all out, which they're going to succeed in doing. Pittman's up with a 3 kill on the round. Everybody dies, but it's very expensive at the end of it.
That was so smart by Liquid. They recognized very quickly that they can't win that round. As soon as that Molotov happened and that nade, they were like, okay, we can't win this round. Let's try to make them blow up. And they get all 5 of them dead. Now look at CLG's money. All of a sudden, normally, you have to win 2 gun rounds in a row, but they're going to have to win like 1.5 gun rounds, kind of, in order to break CLG's money. So that was fantastic by Liquid.
But it's good, too, as CLG's round share here was getting a little bit one-sided in their favor. So assuming Team Liquid can close out this gun round and follow through if we see a force after this from CLG, then they're still going to be in a pretty good position around a fairly fast comeback. There's only 4 rounds behind right now. The opener here on CLG, as you take a look again, it's still fairly standard in terms of the T sides on this new Inferno. Not seeing them really take any map control, just waiting out the initial CT smokes and trying to see if they do anything hyper-aggressive that they can punish. Ethan, though, in Banana does actually get mollied out as they use both Molotovs that are over here on the B-bomb site to try and flush him out. It works, obviously. And then they have the deep smoke to prevent him from moving back in for an extra 20 seconds or so. Meanwhile, over here on the A-bomb site, CLG's not going to be waiting out that smoke. They do decide to flash directly through and take control past the choke point. They succeed in that, but it's only this 1 player. I think Cutler is the one that pushed in. Everybody else falls back and was looking like they were going to shift into Banana, but again, the deep smoke is reapplied over here at the arches, the entrance to Banana. So they may have to go back towards plan A over here and try to execute towards this side instead, depending on how the timing works out for them. As they still got they haven't met any aggression or anything like that towards A. Team Liquid is playing it really far back on that site, whereas Nitro is basically just trying to contest and get the intel as early as possible there. Pushed out the car, and he did spot those 1 or 2 players that were pushing into Banana a moment ago. Get prepped for it now. They were doing the boost, but they canceled it at the last second, so they're just going to play this out. Poof, and JDM unfortunately just gets destroyed on the way in. Elige gets a nice double kill, but again, after all the trades and whatnot happen, and Cutler still holds this flank position, it's not going to leave a whole lot of room for Liquid to win the round. So the 2K from Elige doesn't end up meaning much beyond economy damage, and for Pimp, he knows he doesn't have a chance at it, so he's already just playing into the A site to look to save.
Liquid should not have lost that round. Under no circumstances should they have lost that round. They had 3B. JDM misses an easy shot. Site guy doesn't get any kills. Spindle guy gets 2, yeah, but he dies. I mean, that was a 4v3. Cutler was lurking. That was a 4v3 at the B site with no smoke CT spawn and upper CT spawn. Should never happen. Liquid had no business losing that round, but that puts him in a pretty bad spot. And COG, I mean, Stan not playing well at all. JDM not hitting his shots. You know, you got 3 and 17 on Stan. JDM 6 and 13. I mean, he's had an op like every round too. You know, almost every gun round he's opping. So just not playing well at all. And COG positionally so far this game has like crushed Liquid, just positionally speaking.
And so, as you can see there from Liquid's money, not going to be seeing much in the way of investment here. Just not even really armor buys coming up behind a majority of the pistol upgrades. CZs and P250s are really all we are going to see this time. And for CLG, sending most of their players just directly up through mid. Again, pretty standard default opener. Probably going to sit back since Team Liquid is broken here just to make sure that they don't do anything crazy. Like they did on, I think it was the 2nd or 3rd round there. Now they all try to push out towards mid. And after they wait down the timer a bit, following through with the execute pretty quickly afterwards, as we're seeing now. 4 stack here. The Team Liquid at the very least do have the numbers playing in their advantage over here on this site. But Pimp just looking the complete other direction, and there's nobody watching for anyone that would be hugging this close right wall. Nitro goes off at least and finds Finesse, but again, that's pretty much it. Everybody on the site gets knocked out. Stan tries to peek in Akusta. He picks up a nice 2nd kill on the round. Elige completely detached from the action, so it's an easy 13th there as CLG continue to walk through these anti-ecos without too much trouble.
Yeah, and I know it looks like COG has this huge commanding lead being 13-7, but if Liquid continues to play the CT side like that, I don't think they're going to lose another round like that, where they should really easily win it, you know, where JDM's in spawn, there's no smoke, they have 2 more, you know, 1 site, 1 spindle at B. Liquid did a really nice, like, just aggro B, mid-round aggression kind of. They waited until the Molotov came out, they smoked deep, they double mollied, you know, logs and around that area. The only thing they have to ever clear in that situation is behind the, you know, the short wall, right? And if they could do that and they can make things uncomfortable for COG, and we'll see this round. If Liquid is able to put that B pressure and kind of dictate the rotates like that, it's still going to be a very, very difficult game.
CLG still have continued to control the situation, though, for this entire T side, as I don't think Liquid has gotten a single round up on the board yet here in this half. But again, it's only our 2nd real gun round as we're going into it, so there's still plenty of time for that comeback to happen. But obviously, if it doesn't happen here right now, then it may be a pretty short amount of time, as they are running thin rounds to lose out here and mistakes to make against CLG. On the opener, though, things go pretty much as you'd expect. It's a little bit heavy on the banana pressure for this early on from CLG, as they are trying to go.
Botch smoke, right? They threw a smoke from like spawn, and that's where that's a CT smoke right there.
Yeah.
That's got to be a botch smoke, right?
I would assume so, since it's not really covering anything.
Yeah, I'm almost positive it is.
And what's even worse, too, is that nade goes really deep and ends up connecting onto Nitro, bringing him down to 40 HP, and I think he's getting tagged by something there, too. So he's going to be pretty low right from the beginning of the round. They are starting to expect it, as they actually haven't rotated anyone over from A, actually, to my surprise, despite this. So Smoke moves in, but they already have control of the staging ground, so if they push against this could prove to be a big mistake. However, Kusa just randomly seems to swing out on his own with the Molotov, I think, blocking them over there. So some weird communication issues or something from CLG. Well, the Molotov just getting in the way too well, and that leads to Kusa just dying all on his lonesome. Now Moore trying to push back in, and once again, they find Ethan out in the open, so they're smoked out on the platform itself. FNS is to try and push back through that. Nitro's still trying to redeploy this smoke, but again, Nitro for the backside, picks up another kill that is whittling them off one by one. Finally, there's a frag for CLG, but it's going to be of very little consequence. Nitro finds the trade. He's at 7 HP now, but Cutler's just alone in a 1v4. There's not even really any reason for Nitro to swing out against that and hunt for the kill, as they have him restricted to the corner here. And really Cutler just hoping to get any frags that he can to try and limit the economy of Team Liquid going into some of these next rounds here. He'll find one. He knows he still has Nitro somewhere in the backside here. Currently looking away for it as he hugs the wall. Positionally, still playing it very well, but with the time now below 10 seconds, he does it to burn him out. No. With 5 HP coming out of the molly, Nitro just takes him down, and Team Liquid finally get one up on the board in this half.
That was really bad.
messy.
That was really bad by COG. I mean, that's something that Hellraisers kind of made, you know, I don't want to say famous, but they were kind of the ones that started that, where you kind of mid-round retake car control. And COG should know what's happening. I mean, that's been around forever on Inferno, that they kind of let you take car control, and they smoke it out, then they molly and they retake it, right? And then Kusa, they just had no plan for it. That's what it was. They had no plan for that. They wanted a full B exec where they probably pushed spawn side like we saw before. And they just had no plan for what they were going to do against that mid-round aggression. Kusa's plan was to take out the Tech 9, run through a molly, and fight 2-on-1, full speed. Not the best plan.
Yeah.
And everybody else's plan was to just run back and forth like chickens with their heads cut off. So that was very sloppy.
Yeah, this is going to pretty... Oh, nice shot from Stanislaw there, catching Ricky just halfway up the long haul. Immediately, again, knocking out one of the players from CLG. And this is a forced investment for them, too. You can see the Tech 9 on Ethan. The rest, I'm pretty sure all 5 of them were able to get AKs, or all the 4 of them, excuse me, were able to get AKs beyond that, but they don't have a whole lot of smokes or Molotovs to try and work their way into the site. And Team Liquid, again, they're kind of in the same boat here, but at least they have a decent amount of Molotovs they wanted to utilize to try and hold off just a direct play like this, and we can see that coming into effect right now. Pimp spotted Finesse, but he got hit by a flashbang, so he's restricted to the corner. Still holds on, though, and he finds his first kill with 36 HP remaining. Finally, trade and a second one from Cutler. He may even be able to get a third. In fact, he does. So he's saving this round single-handedly, but now he needs to ace this, and he's only got 35 seconds left. He knows JDM's sitting back somewhere. He just can't find this second guy yet. As he looks for him on the porch, he's creeping so far, but in fact, I don't even think he knows JDM's up here. He runs into them on the AK, pulls out the Glock, somehow still gets the frag, and now he's got even time to reload. Nitro still trying to push in against him here. Time's getting low, though, so if Cutler wants this frag, he's got to go for it. The flashbang out doesn't connect. He's low at 18 HP, and Nitro will just barely save the round for Liquid.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, COG had no business even being that close and winning the round. That's just phenomenal effort and individual play by Cutler. I mean, this is a 1v5, I believe.
Yeah.
And brings it down to a 1v1 where actually I thought he was going to win it. I mean, he had that flash, he had that Molotov, he knew exactly where he was. Just kind of panics a little bit, gets a little bit too over-aggressive. The flash didn't do much to Nitro. It was very easy to dodge. Pimp making it 4v5 right off the bat. But COG there, I mean, did you see how as soon as XU came, the Molotov porch came at like the perfect time to just stop anything? If COG would have timed their Molotovs like that, they would have already won this game.
Fortunately, that hasn't been the case, and much like Team Liquid was rather uninspiring with their own Ecos back on T side, the same is probably going to hold true here for CLG. Again, the Finesse, sneaking in 1 kill here, not going to be the biggest deal in the world. Cutler, the last man alive, goes down pretty easily, and it is a pretty casual round win there for Team Liquid. I believe we'll see a tactical pause coming in now for CLG, as they're getting close to losing the lead. Liquid on the kind of a comeback streak, so they need to find some way to dampen it and restore order to allow themselves to push forward and close out this map.
Does this a COG timeout?
I believe so, yeah.
Assuming.
I would assume so, considering the situation.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be tough to get 3 more rounds against Liquid. Liquid's going to be fully bought out. But, I think Liquid's going to win this, despite the score. Even when it was like 13-7 or so, I was thinking, the way they played that last gun round, where they made things for COG uncomfortable, because Inferno, it really does play very similar, it seems like, than the old, to the old Inferno. Just a little bit different because the time's longer. Now, I mean, so just trying to delay with nades isn't really an option anymore, and people need to get that out of their heads. Like, oh, I'm just going to use my nade to delay. Because that's how it used to be on the old Inferno. It used to just throw an extra smoke B, and you'd have 2 more smokes, and then you'd have 2 mollies, and it was like the entire round. If you wanted to hit B, you'd have like 15 seconds left to do it. But once people get rid of that idea that, hey, we can't really do that much anymore, then it plays very similar, where it's like, oh, you could just Molotov when they start doing stuff and things like that, and it becomes pretty CT-sided. So we'll see. Fully bought round by COG, no off onto Ricky or Kusta though. Kusta just loves taking damage from all this. You notice that?
Takes him a little bit longer than necessary.
JDM.
JDM, though, oh my god, he almost didn't make it out of there.
What are we watching?
What? Pimp pushed out T steps, and he got one. Thankfully, FNS is there, and he figures that out pretty quickly, so he trades it, but the first 30 seconds of this round has been basically utter chaos.
Both these teams just love living in fire.
On the edge, man.
Yep.
So, yeah, after that happens, it does leave itself down to a 4v4. Ricky got knocked out somewhere there, too. I didn't really catch where that happened, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, and JDM only on 12 HP due to that other molly, so he's... You know, I actually think that on Inferno on CT side, I don't think 4v4 is that much of a problem. Like, you still have a lot of options. You could still cover the whole map and everything. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue for Liquid. They have a nice setup here, double pit setup with one at Moto and a retake B. So they're set up very well to win this round.
And now Stan is going to be sitting on top. He knows there's going to be pressure moving in. Oh, he actually grabs Finesse, gets the mid-air headshot onto him while jumping down himself. Elige knocking out the second player here, and it's going to be pretty quickly in the favor of Team Liquid after that. So they close it out. Pimp's early aggression really seems to screw up CLGs. They even had things smoked over there past the mid-choke point around Arch Wrap to be able to try and go in pretty quickly, but all that chaos really threw them off there. And now when they made their second attempt, it got controlled pretty quickly. So Team Liquid now just 2 rounds away from tying this.
Yeah, and again, for the viewers at home that are watching, another greatly timed Molotov. The smokes come, he Molotov porch, I believe, and it just allows them to double up on halls. Like, it becomes very easy to hold that A site if you use your utility properly.
And JDM gets a double and then follows it up with a third as well, just re-peeking directly inside. Good shot from FNS to trade it, but the round is, unless he can somehow pull off a miracle here, almost already done for. As JDM just dominates a quick push from CLG, trying to go up mid. Good flashbang again from Finesse, but he just can't pick up a third or fourth kill there as he gets double pushed from the guys on Banana.
FNS is killing it, man. 22 and 12. Leading everybody in the server. I mean, plus 10 right now. Seems even on these pistol rounds where they just have no chance to win, really just, you know, very light investment. You got the P250 kill out of halls. He just got 2 kills there. Just really making an impact in almost every single round. So now Liquid though, 13-12, I think they're in a good spot in this game. Even if they lose this round, they'll still probably buy. You know, they'll be able to get 2 drops down. They have a lot of money on those 3 guys.
Yeah, and again, it's fast up mid here for the guys in CLG, but JDM again finding another early shot here through the mid choke point. Takes down Ethan. I believe hearing him spray out or tap away with the AK, he's able to trace him down and knock him out. So it's another 5v4 advantage right at the start of the round for Team Liquid.
Kusta probably going to try to look for a pick here, I would assume, but what do you do right now? Ricky challenges 2 players at B, and just like that, like, the dominoes fall very quickly when people just start taking gun battles that they shouldn't in 4v5s to try to even it up, but the gun battles they're taking are not advantaged at all. They're not looking for opportunistic kills, they're trying to force the issue, and anytime you're going to force a peak against a Liquid, and, you know, players like Nitro and Elige, like, they're generally going to punish you.
And we can see though that CLG, after being delayed for about 5 to 10 seconds there by Molotovs, do still resolve to push through mid and try to wrap back around here. Pimp is waiting inside of the library. Again, great timing on the flashbang around the wrap side there, as it does blind them and delay them even more. No peek from Pimp though to challenge as he just wants to take them on in the A corner here as he waits for it, and it's perfectly timed too, due to the fact that he remained a mystery up until that point. Nobody even knew he was sitting in there, so Finesse just walks right into his own death. Kusta catching JDM from the back, so a bit of confusion there about the situation in terms of player positioning, as now Color's also going to push him from porch, but he fails to check the broken wall portion of the pit, and that's going to allow for Stan to pick up frag. There's only going to be 1 more on the site itself, so Kusta may at the very least be able to guarantee a plant. We'll have to see as he goes for it over here in the A-side emo corner. He's going to get pushed back out again, really just hunting for frags. As Stan does just jump right up there, taking him down. It is before the timer expired, so he's still going to get the losing bonus money, but now the game is tied at 13-13.
Yeah, it is. So pistol armor going to come out for CLG. They do have a good amount of money bonus. I'm not sure if they're maxed or not right now. But again, you know, CT side Inferno, you get full nades. You have all these clever things that Liquid's doing. Yeah, so they do have max money bonus. You have all these clever things Liquid's doing at B. You see the boost over the smoke. And it's just, you know, COG just has no answer for any of these things that Liquid's doing, especially at B. You know, the retake B mid-round, the push mid-round at B, all these things are really making CLG struggle.
And it is leading to the downfall, as we're seeing now CLG falling behind here to now possibly lose the lead as we, again, Liquid's kind of had the same problem, but we're not really seeing anything special on these half-buy and eco rounds as they have tried to sort of force the issue directly onto the site. Haven't seen any really sort of special takes overall throughout the course of this half from CLG. They've been playing it extremely straightforward after just weighing down the timer. They had an opportunity to catch Nitro out there, but he falls back too quickly. And with the Molotov, that's going to kill their fast attempt to take control. Moving away from the staging ground now, it does look like they are going to try to reapply some utility and still go back in. But they're aware of this. Stan should be quick on the rotate when he sees these Molotovs and HE and all, everything being tossed back in here. But still, it's Kusa into the first one. Beautiful spray out of the second player from Nitro. But he does remain in the open, and that will give the site over to CLG. It's left even into a 3v3. Ethan being the only one to pick up an upgrade at 19 HP as well. So still working mainly with Tech 9 and a P250 sitting over on Ricky. Pretty slow rotate will be working its way in from Pimp as he takes his time to watch out for this sort of a flank. But Stan walks himself right into a kill against Cutler. Molly from the CTs does get wasted, so Ethan will still remain safe in emo corner, but it's going to be pretty obvious that one should be playing back to there, and I'm sure they'll check it when they do move back in towards the platform here. Ricky with that P250, though, lines up a kill, and then Ethan swings out of perfect timing, so now it's on Stan in a 1v2, and Ethan just playing with him here at the pole. He knows Ricky's sitting back over there on B. He's switching his focus all over the place. He doesn't know which one to go for here, and he knows he's been outmatched. So while he may, and he won't even get this, I was about to say, well, they may be able to kill Ethan. The round is going to go into CLG's favor, and they do pull it off on the half-buy round.
Such a good job by CLG there. I mean, Nitro, even those two kills were like insane. That spray chance round on the second guy was incredible. If that doesn't happen, that round probably goes CLG's way a lot easier. Is this a Liquid pause or CLG?
CLG pause.
Okay. But what you notice that they did is they feigned the B pressure. You know, guy like peeked in, they threw a smoke or a flash or whatever, and then they got him to use their Molotovs. Then all of a sudden they don't have this utility. They don't have these nades to hold. I don't even think they had a flashbang even. I think they were just both doubled sight kind of with no nades. So CLG could just run up on them with Tech 9s. They mollied the triple. And all of a sudden you have like a round win. But when you give Liquid the opportunity to hold their mollies, to hold their smokes, and then whenever you show your card, whenever you play your hand out, then they just bomb you with utility. It's so difficult to win the round, and that's one of the problems on Inferno when you play like that. When you just kind of just group up, you throw your smokes, you do your execute, and then bam, counter mollies come out. It's just so hard to win.
Yeah. So CLG with the good play there and actually delaying that full execute until after they had baited out Team Liquid's own utility. It gives them back their lead just when they were about to lose it, and now they go back into another fully invested round. Interesting to note, though, that after they still don't seem to have enough cash flow to still be able to invest into an op, so we're not going to be seeing that going back on either Kusta or Ricky just yet. For JDM, though, he's still working with it as Team Liquid have their own buy, and now Team Liquid a lot more aggressive for them. Look at Nitro, how deep he went to take control of Banana here, make sure that no one worked their way out, along with the deep smoke to just secure it here. They should have, I think, one more to utilize here as well. Try and reapply that if they want to. Actually, no, they won't, because Nitro and JDM have both either utilized theirs or just didn't have a second one. And it's going to be left all to JDM over there. Molotov's going over. I think that one just fizzled out, though, so the one on Forge is going to have very little effect anyway, since Team Liquid are playing back on the site. But in terms of actually moving in, right now CLG aren't making any big moves, as they still have a minute left on the clock, and most are actually falling back to re-aggress into B.
This is good for CLG. JDM needs to make a play here, and he does. He's posted up with an op. They just straight peek him. I mean, you're in a good position if you're CLG there. No utility on Liquid. Yeah, they do have that B control, but you could circumvent that. You could figure out a way to push him back to make it more of an even battle. Instead, they just walk into JDM's off. Now Liquid playing a retake with 4A. JDM posted.
And they make him miss his first shot behind the crypts. He gets a second one, actually, but it's only a leg against Finesse when it looked like it was going to be a headshot on one of those players. So misses out on an opportunity for a frag, and then goes down to Kusta when they do flood the site. Also important to note here, too, is that CLG still had a decent amount of utility going into it, so they immediately apply their own smokes. I think there's one blocking off the church, so Cutler's good here unless they push past that. They still have another Molotov sitting on Ricky, too, if they want to try to block off church when this expires. So right now, Liquid really having no choice but to try and wait a few extra seconds here. They will start to move out now as Cutler, again, actually great positioning there to try and go for that peak. Finesse swinging in, even finds Stanislaw looking at the stars there. But Nitro swinging out, they get back the control over here towards Garden, but they're not really getting anything else. Kusta gets a double frag, Pip trading out two more, but then Kusta finds his third and finishes off the round, and that is going to send CLG swinging up to round number 15.
Yeah, and again, that was Liquid not playing well positionally. Like, it's 4v5. They still only left JDM alone at B. But JDM, he should have killed Kusta. He should have had another kill, actually. At the very least, he should have stayed alive, you know? But, you know, COG did take B, and they had a lot of utility when they took B. They kind of just straight peeked when they took it, and JDM didn't punish them at all. So, I don't know. Liquid kind of, they messed up that round. Liquid had that round. It's 4v5. They have, you know, good weaponry. They just don't make the right rotations. Now, COG 15-13, they're playing against no op, 2 umps, 2 pistols, and M4. Bad utility. You know, COG, if they don't win this game and Liquid, you know, wins this round and maybe forces it to overtime, like, they only have themselves to blame. They put themselves in a fantastic situation.
It does appear as though they are going to try and again just weight this down a little bit, as they're in the same sort of group up that we saw from the last round. Kusta with the bomb, however, now sneaking his way over here up towards B, but it's a much more passive smoke this time from Team Liquid, just covering off the wall as they do not have the op anymore to play towards the car peak. They just have a 5-7 and a UMP sitting on this site. Playing together, though, and if they don't expect the pressure to be this close up, as this is actually one of the first times Team Liquid have actually taken an active role on holding this part of the map. And there you go. They don't even check the other side of the wall. 2 quick kills for Liquid. They try to go for more, but unfortunately both of those defenders do swing out. Thankfully, the Team Liquid players from the A side had already half rotated in the meantime, so both JDM along with Stanislaw are going to be here, but that doesn't mean they can impact. Stan's the only one that can fight. He does get 2 big kills, and that leaves the fate of this match down to a 1v1 here now. Ricky getting the plant as Pimp arrives. He should be safe to plant here. I don't think Pimp's even going to go for giving away his position that early anyway. All he has to get back in is a flashbang. Meanwhile, Ricky, he's got everything in the world to hold this back up. He's got a smoke. He's got a Molotov. He did kind of restrict himself positionally, though, as he's playing back in the emo corner instead of another one of the spots he could have chosen to play from. But Pimp moving back in. He's going to have to play it close up, and Ricky slowly just edging back out. He's got the perfect angle to close it out, and he will indeed finish the job for CLG as they take this first map here on Inferno with a final score of 16-13. It's going to be Counter Logic Gaming that claim this first map.
Wow. I wouldn't have expected that going into it. COG kind of had a lot of troubles last night. Liquid has been looking great. So, I mean, this is a bit of an upset, but COG played really, really well. I mean, we didn't see those just mental errors, those complete blunders that we saw last night. We saw some, you know, little mistakes with, like, non-proper communication as far as, like, when to use your Molotovs and utilities and whatnot, but overall played very well. And Liquid, on the other hand, just kind of dug themselves in a hole, and COG capitalized on it. So, commend COG for how they played.
All right, so there's a lot to discuss, of course, on this first map, and in order to do that, we're going to send it back over to our analysis desk. Stunna and Vendetta, let's get your guys' take on that first map.
Thank you, guys. Do appreciate you, like usual, killing it over there, having a good old time doing it, too. Just like it looked like CLG did. They're really bringing in some work here, showing a lot of promise.
I mean, they're bringing it here right now, and we talked about it as well. They're a team on the up and up, barring what we saw really last night, which it was a bit of an anomaly. They played great, and it was the same, you know, recipe for success as they did have yesterday. This time, it's just like Sam said, didn't have those mental hiccups really, or just performance issues in terms of like players messing up and making uncanny mistakes, right? So again, positional play being kind of the forte of CLG. You see it all through their CT side. They position themselves extremely well to where they're set up for crossfires and just good positions at any given time to deal with whatever execute Liquid wanted to throw at them. So that was really impressive from the CLG squad.
Let's take a look at the Liquid side of things now. We've got round number 8 loaded up for you guys at home. Vendetta, walk us through this one.
Well, okay, so this is a round where Team Liquid already has gotten the first frag, and this is one of the few rounds where they actually have some success with their, with their executes. And CLG, even in this scenario, actually make the right decision by putting Kusta up all by himself towards that B bomb set, which allows you to stack heavily towards A. Luckily, though, for Liquid, they actually have a really well thought out execute. You can see here smokes going out, which is going to block out FNS. They wrap around Arch Corner and end up, getting favorable trades in that kind of a scenario. And this is one of the few things that actually work for Liquid, but they struggled to actually find that initial kill a lot of the times on the T side, which didn't allow them to have the room to actually do this kind of a round. In addition to that, even with CLG playing from a disadvantage, they still play it out pretty well in terms of their decision making as to how they want to set up. So that was pretty cool from actually both teams.
We saw a lot of cool stuff come from Liquid across the board. I mean, we even saw situations over on the B side of the map where they played more to the economical game. We saw them elect to not go for the defuse in a situation and then, you know, elect to wait for them to explode with the bomb.
Yeah.
Setting themselves up for future rounds.
Exactly, and you want to think long term in the CS, and that's the cool part. Even though it's round by round, and yeah, potentially you can win every single round, you know, you have to be realistic about your chances in any sort of opportunity, and you know, making that kind of a decision. Sure, it's not the most fun pill to swallow at that point, but you know, sometimes you just have to jump on the grenade and take one and do something like that. And it's just very level-headed of them to actually come up with that way of going about it.
No, absolutely. Let's take a look at round number 12 now. Just absolute chaos over on the Liquid side. And it really a last-second plant, the way we saw this one kind of break down. I think, in all reality, this one got down to what? The bare of 3-4 seconds, and then they got the plant in?
Well, yeah, no, again, this is one of the rounds where we don't really see Liquid actually finding anything early. CLG did a good job of adapting to the fact that, well, you know, the one time that Liquid was successful with an execute, it was off of the back that they gave away an early pick, right? So them, you know, adapting accordingly, not giving any chances for Liquid to find early frags puts Liquid in a spot where they have to blindly execute into CLG, and that's never really fun. And the only thing that really saves Liquid in that kind of a scenario is the fact that Pimp finds 2 frags almost immediately as they wrap around Arch corner, and it's just down to individual performances more than the fact that their strategy and setup for the round was solid.
Well, let's talk about a weird setup here. Let's talk about, we expected to see the double op setup from CLG. I think at one point we even saw a triple op
yeah,
setup.
with FNS.
So it's strange across the board, but obviously played out in the long run for them in some fashion.
It definitely did, and actually, if we go back to their Inferno game yesterday, we actually didn't get to see Ricky play that op, you know, secondary op all that often. We primarily saw Kusta, you know, having the reins of that. But it feels like Ricky gets much more into his own groove when he's allowed to actually have some freedom and showcase what kind of skill he has as an opper as well, and that worked out really well for CLG in this game.
I mean, CLG starting that first half very much with a little bit of progression there, with like a little bit of work, a little bit of groundwork. We see them coming in at 8-7 at CT half. Is that a strong half for considering the CT and T balance on this map?
I think it's tough to tell. I want to say, like, given how it started out, because obviously the one pistol then lost the following round, right? Then the fact that you're able to win the half after that is pretty decent. But it's hard to tell, actually, you know, whether or not this is going to be the way going forward, if it's going to be an 8-7 map or if it's going to be wildly CT favored or not. So, you know, yeah, it's still too early days, really, to really, like, nail the head down on what kind of a map this is and where it's favored.
You got to be careful about nailing the head down, no matter where it is or when you're doing it.
Words of wisdom.
But we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got these two teams battling it out on Overpass, so stay tuned right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESL One Code! Two headshots in a row. FNX about to bring it back now. All on Nico. Trying to see if they can get the defuse and Nico. Oh no, FNX! Has to keep Virtus Pro alive. Taco once closer. AWK. He's looking for him. He's gonna get a hit by the headshot again. Oh my god.
All right, we're back, and it's almost time for the second matchup of the night here between Liquid and CLG. We're going to go into Overpass. What can we expect?
Honestly, a pretty tightly contested game, I think, especially with the way CLG are playing. Last night, we didn't see them execute well enough, but their ideas of how they wanted to play the map was really solid. And today, we saw them execute on Inferno, doing both, both aspects of it. So I'm expecting a similar thing to come out from CLG, and that's going to make life tough for Liquid.
It absolutely will, and I do believe that Liquid are, they got to bounce back from that last map. Maybe it was just a warm-up. Maybe it was just one-off.
Especially JDM and Stanislaw, they had very, very slow starts to the game. And obviously, you can't just play one half of CS in this kind of scenario. You have to be there the entire time. And, if they can't do that, if it ends up in another scenario where some of the players on Liquid actually just mess up completely and just go missing, then I think CLG are going to take it. But obviously, that's a big if from these kind of players.
Well, standing by is Mr. Stromboli with a little bit of CLG on Overpass. Give us some of that Counter Logic Gaming.
Welcome back to Stromberg Strategies. We're going to take a look at CLG. We're going to see their teamwork on Overpass. They've been putting in the work, they're putting in the time. These guys are showing that they are not here by pure luck. These guys put in the hard work. You just see Hayes, he gets spotted early. Ethan comes right back from Cat. Nice exchange, back and forth. Look at them go. And as you can see, puts Pick in a weird spot. He has to back off. Now in a slower motion, you see Showtime. He knows Hayes is there. He looks. Boom. Ethan swings by. Yell was originally going to kill Hayes, but he swung back to Ethan. That allowed Hayes to peek. Great job, Ethan, taking one for the team. You're a team player right there. Now another crossfire in the bathroom between FNS and Cutler, as you see right there. Baiting's not bad, guys. Baiting is not bad. This is great baiting. He takes a shot. He doesn't get the insta-kill, so he falls back, guys. Just fall back. Cutler peeks from behind, gets the kill behind him, and FNS cleans it up. And right here, Kusta, you don't need teamwork to win all the time. Sometimes you just got to shoot one person or two people with one bullet. There you go. Kusta showing why he ults, because his bullet somehow connects with two people. Back to you, Stunna.
Thank you, Eric. Now, real quickly, because I know these guys are ready to get in there and they're ready to get fragging, give me a quick prediction on this one.
I'm going to go with the favorites, Team Liquid, to bounce back after losing Inferno. So that's who I'm going with.
Absolutely. Well, that's the prediction. Could that be the way it is? Blue and Dazed will be delivering you this one.
All right, yeah, thank you again. Thank you once again, Stunna. The match should be starting here at any moment, guys. So, Days, really quick, let's just talk about, we didn't go into too much about, what was going wrong with Liquid. Was it really just the absence of Stanislaw and JDM until the very end there, or was there some bigger team-wide issue that we were seeing on that last map that led to their loss?
I think JDM, he did not play well. We saw numerous instances where the lack of kills alone, right? But a lot of his kills, on that anti-eco, for instance, he had that 3K, right?
Yeah.
Those big impact frags and stuff that you expect your operator to kind of come away with. He wasn't performing well. He had his chances at B when COG took B that one round. In the 3v4 when Cutler was lurking, he had a free kill. Didn't capitalize. He got that kill at B, and then they came B again, and he was Spindle. He had two opportunities to get a shot off. Didn't hit him. FNS or Kusta straight peeked him. He died, right? Instead of staying alive in construction. Those are round losses that you can attribute to JDM. So he did not play great there. He was not his usual self. You expect him to hit those shots and have that type of impact. Now, I don't think the loss is all on him or anything like that, but it's a combination of things. It's that, it's on T side, maybe just little things here and there. Stanislaw not playing his best as well. And you got to give credit to CLG. They played very, very well.
Well, we are getting into the second map here now. CLG is going to start themselves off on the T side. It's a very quick pistol round for them on this T side as they'll swing directly into the B bomb site, even smoking off so that Nitro really is not going to have any impact. He even misses, he might have heard it, but he misses the fact that Ethan kind of dives into pit really early on there. Kusta holding a close angle with the Tech 9. He is going to be able to pick up one, but then it's a quick trade-off as he kind of gets overwhelmed by three different players. So one down, two to trade him back out. Now leaving this into a 4-on-4. There's actually pressure from all avenues here, so Finesse is going to try to swing around. Keep in mind, this has been a big pistol player for CLG, and he just went down without a single frag to his name. JDM just walks into another kill here against Cutler, but fails to check behind him, so Ricky's going to sneak an additional one, and unfortunately, he's alone, though. And Pimp will finish the job off to take down Ricky. Plenty of time left for that defuse, so it's Team Liquid grabbing the pistol here.
Yeah, and a much-needed pistol for Liquid. COG does get the bomb down, but Liquid, I think they're going to come out kind of fired up. They know, these are the matches you need to win when you're Liquid, because it's really going to dictate your seeding, right? Do you just expect to be Cloud9, you know, SK, Immortals, right? These are all going to be like these really tough matchups. So you really want to, you know, win these teams that you're supposed to beat to make sure, you know, you have a good seed coming into playoffs. But yeah, so COG just basically hoping for the bomb plan here. 4 coax and a P250 smoke grenade. That's really it. They're just grouped up towards Monster.
They are going to attempt to just overwhelm the site at the very least to get themselves into their plan.
They should be able to get one though. I mean, they're playing very passive on Liquid.
Most of them just hiding out over here, but they do dispatch them pretty quickly, and this actually may stop them from getting it. Stan took a lot of time to get that kill, and I think that's what's going to allow them to get that plant. And Kusta, not a lot of room to...
Easy round.
Not a lot of room to
really
run.
got to win those, Kusta. Come on.
So it is going to be still a pretty straightforward round, pretty much as we expected though, since the guys from Team Liquid are playing it passively on the site. CLG was still able to just flood in, get that plant, because the pit guy from Team Liquid wasted too much time swinging back up and taking them back down. So they find the plant, and now they're going to go early into their first gun run here, since they still have full utility and everything like that. It's not really a forced investment by any means. So they are going to be able to get that full buy going, whereas meanwhile the Team Liquid side, obviously again they still carry the excess cash, but they're also still working, you know, with 2 SMGs here, along with the 3 rifles and a whole boatload of utilities, so that can prove problematic. They're not going to be able to play those SMGs to proper positions here, but I mean CLG really haven't even tried to experiment with the top half of the map at all here so far. It's all been downstairs, splitting over either towards Construction or Monster. They've been very direct so far and very, very fond of B plays, as once again they're going to try to line up early for some sort of control around here.
Fast map control coming out from CLG, and they can go into a B take if they want. They don't have any presence on the other side of the map at all, so they're going to have to worry about the flank. But it looks like it's going to be something quick, you know, mollies, sometimes an execute maybe. No, just a straight peek, and Liquid was probably going to re-exec onto the sewers and just gets caught out.
Well, Nitro will be able to hold off for 2, so the chance for winning out the round may not be gone just yet. A lot of it did depend on if Elige was going to be able to make his kill while coming down from the connector, though, and he failed at that. So it's just on JDM at the moment, still moving into the site. I imagine, though, that he's probably just going to try to swing out and peek to see if he can find 1 or 2 kills, and then after that, probably have to fall back, dink through the paneling, but again, it's only for like 20 damage or whatever. Not a huge deal. Oh, the second he swings out after tossing out that smoke, Kusa doesn't waste any time in getting the headshot into him. So there you go, CLG, their first gun round, right up on the board from the get-go of things.
Yeah, Liquid's still going to be able to buy, pretty decent buy at that. But CLG, nice round for them. Since they took the site so clean as well, Liquid definitely wanted to do some type of a retake on the sewers after it was taking control of them. While they were walking there, Ethan just gives them a straight peek, takes out 2. They're just going to kind of flash over and try to, you know, take the battles there.
And again, a lot of heavy presence downstairs here for the CLG guys, lining up 3 outside of Monster. A few more just sitting back and waiting for Team Liquid to throw any aggression over there towards the fountain area, but they won't be spotting it. Smoked off and sectioned off pretty well to not allow for either team to get any sort of an advantage here. But nice shots coming in from the B bomb site from the CTs there. Does some great damage. Nitro's even going to be able to move back in and take down Ethan too. So they also, again, as I mentioned before, through the paneling, were able to knock him about a quarter of Ricky's HP. So early on here, obviously, I mean, they've been playing very straightforward so far as Team Liquid really just catching on to this now and starting to punish CLG much better early on in the round, which is probably going to allow for a much easier shutdown, even with Molotov presence coming back in here around, you know, similar timings that we were seeing CLG execute into the bomb site in some of these past rounds. So just looking to hold them off if they try and go for that same sort of B execute once again here.
Yeah, with no A presence again, they can just have 3 players towards B and just kind of chill out. I mean, they're making a lot of noise. Here comes the execute.
Yeah, and Team Liquid actually are basically out of utility, but this is after they, you know, like 5 seconds ago had re-smoked over towards construction there. So they're still looking pretty good unless the guy over here coming in through Monster is able to sneak back in. 3 in the pit from the CT side. There's no one playing Toxic or up on the platform at all, so this is actually somewhat risky. That's a lot of site control for free. 2 for 1 so far in the favor of Team Liquid, but still with all that pit control, it is going to let them walk right up and find the plant. After everything is said and done, it was going to be left in an advantage for CLG, but thankfully Elige arrived just in time to even it out once more. Now Elige is sitting back waiting for JDM to get into a good position, but the T's themselves had saved a lot of their utility. Elige to make a last-ditch move here to try and swing back out as he's lost his teammate. Also dodged FNS, but I don't think he realized that he was spotted by FNS, as he's hiding safely just behind the safe plant boxes right now. But oh, again, the timing on these pushes are working out to where up until that point, at least neither one had been able to spot each other. But because FNS got the first spot, he's able to play that a lot smarter and he's able to get a fairly easy clutch in the 1v1 to tie this game up.
Yeah, and I mean, again, CLG is just kind of brute forcing that B site. They have everybody there. They're not showing any A presence or anything like that. And Liquid, I mean, they even have 3 people there. But CLG is just kind of taking these duels and winning them. Thought that was going to be a 1 round for Liquid when Nitro, you know, kind of got that entry. But CLG just showing up to play today, man.
They're going to try to continue it here now. And
Completely different team than we saw last night, right?
I mean, well, we saw the kind of makings though yesterday as they were formed up. You know, the strategies and whatnot seemed to be there, and their positioning was there. But I think just on the individualistics, they were really having a bad night yesterday. So they've definitely corrected a lot of that, and they've come back to play big time today against a much bigger challenger as well. It was showing up flat in quite a few regards on the opposite end of the spectrum there. Stan already being found out here down below though, and the long player is going to try to make this push now. It's actually not so bad. Pimp picking up 2 frags for himself. Problem is they're going to be getting more than this though, but any frag that they are able to get is going to be great. They even got the bomb out through long, so they really have no choice on the CLG side but to contest those remaining 2 players. But after Pimp picked up the frags against Kusta and Finesse, they did clean it up without too much extra conflict. And indeed, the round still very much so goes into the favor of CLG. Now we're going to see the reinvestment from Team Liquid once more. They get 5 rifles back up onto the board here. CLG still no sign of an op working its way back in here either. They are still working just with the 5 AKs this time. It does still seem like they're sending almost all of their presence again, like right outside of Monster here. They're not even really sending anybody early over here towards the sewers and construction area. They're all just kind of hanging out at the moment outside of Monster like they've done on almost every single gun round so far.
I mean, hey, if it's working, why stop? We'll see if JDM looks like he's getting a little bit aggressive over there around the bathrooms. But I mean, you know, again, if Elise and JDM are able to just kind of hold off A by themselves and not see anything, they should be able to hold it with 3 people.
And I think in a second here, we should see as soon as they move over and get the water control outside of construction, and then they are going to be able to execute right around that 50-second to 1 minute mark that we've been seeing over the past few rounds. They still only have 3 playing to this B site though, even though the 2 on A were able to push fully back out and realize that there is 0 presence on short A. But this time it's a little bit better for Team Liquid, but they are letting Kusta get away. He's traded out those kills, Stan finding 1 more, and also has the opportunity to pick up additional frags here too. The flashbang against him, but it goes too far. It doesn't really blind him, so Ricky's left alone, and he won't be able to get anything else done. Beautifully played by Stanislaw, and finally Team Liquid winning out the gun round there to retie this game again.
I don't know why they decided to do that though. They didn't use any nades. They just straight peeked. And I mean, they have like 5 Molotovs, 4 smokes, like 8 flashbangs, and they just opt to just run through short and long at the same time. I think if they would have utilized those nades, obviously if they just even had a barrel Molotov, just kills Nitro probably outright. So questionable decision making, I think, by CLG. And now they're kind of doing something different. They have 3 in the connector, they have 2 outside B, and I think this is where they're going to throw the 2 bathrooms, the bathroom smoke and the right side smoke when they're coming out of connector, and then they kind of flash for them, and they could kind of take control that way instead of going through Fountain and Party.
We are going to see CLG pushing forward into that connector here momentarily, as this time they're holding back a bit more since the investment is...
So look where the smokes are going to land. They're going to land bathroom's entrance and on that other side when they come out, and they throw that from T-spawn.
Very long range as it is going to restrict Team Liquid quite a bit. Thankfully, they had already retreated out of there, so no huge risk to the lives of anyone, but the faster play we're seeing from Kusta and some of the others could be as he attempts to find Elige back by Semi, but actually ends up finding JDM and just barely dodges that HE grenade too. Thankfully, Elige is able to spot Kusta as he does duck back down, gets him through the paneling there to be able to eliminate him, and this is holding off the rest of the entire hit as they did just double molly back over here outside towards the right side of the flower pot there. So 1 extra molly that may have not needed to have been used. CLG weren't committing to that yet. We'll see if this affects them later on in the round, but also, again, Pim thinking about the future. If they do end up going back in, he's going to try to play creatively over here towards the bathroom connector, but little does he know is that CLG had pushed aggressively out here. Brings Ricky down to 6 HP, but still ends up losing the fight, giving the advantage back to the guys on CLG. As there's 2 here trying to defend the site, but Elise just gets destroyed by a flashbang. The same by Nitro as Ethan and Cutler both find entry frags, leaving this all onto Stanislaw on a 1v4.
All these just bad timings coming out from Liquid. They want to reaggress short. Ethan's there, gets a 2K before he dies. Pimp trying to regress long in bathrooms, just runs right into Ricky, waiting for it. Just Liquid, just a little bit off, just a little bit 1 step too slow. And COG capitalizing on all these mistakes. and it's 4-3. Liquid's going to save this, or probably buy this round actually, and then go into a save since they are in double save territory. So they're going to buy here, then they're going to save. JDM's just going to keep a Deagle half armor, so he's still going to be able to off when they actually have a full gun round if they lose this round. So CLG, again, in a good position.
We are going to see CLG again just spreading their wings early on, but again very restrictedly doing that, as most of their players head back downstairs over here to the outside of Monster, and they have two more just waiting to block out any extra aggression that Team Liquid may have sent out towards the fountain there or through a long by playing in the playground. We won't see those guys find any action though, as has been the case for this entire half so far. It's actually only really Stanislaw and Vesta getting out towards water here, checking through the pipe to see if they can find those Monster players, and it's with a P250, so you're not really expecting him to get anything huge done from here. But Elige, in the meantime, may have his own opportunities. He's going all the way through the lower tunnels and got his way up the ladder. But again, timing doesn't really work out for him, as he did have the backs of quite a few CLG members turned away from a moment ago, but when he finally wraps the corner, he finds himself a Kusta bullet right to the face. And it's not just him either. It's also Stanislaw that gets eliminated, leaving really only Nitro to defend B right now. I think JDM is in the process of moving downstairs, but with just a CZ and a Deagle, it's not going to be the greatest hold in the world if CLG go right through with their go-to plan, which has been just these direct B hits.
Yeah, after making a 5v3, CLG just kind of slows it down. Ricky, he wants to be careful because he does have the bomb. Aggression comes out from Nitro on short. He's running around though. Just easy kill for Ethan. Now they're going to take B, no contest whatsoever. Easy plant. Nice shot from Ethan onto Heaven. And now Liquid's going to be on a full eco this next time. Or this next up.
JDM just taking some pot shots here to see if he can get anybody off with it, but
what is going on? They're all just sitting there spamming.
Maisie doesn't really hit anyone out. There's a huge bulk of players, and timing again as FNS gets JDM as he's looking away. So CLG up to a pretty good 5 rounds to work with against Team Liquid's 3, and as you were mentioning, there's nowhere near enough cash flow to force here for Team Liquid, so they're going to be on a full save, which pretty good confidence now in CLG to be able to pick up a 6 there.
Yeah, full eco now though. So this should be very easy for CLG. Looks like they're going to do more of a default 3 towards fountain, no, 2 connector, 2 fountain, 1 outside of B. A lot of these rounds like this, we usually see people go long A and just kind of use that range, throw their smokes, mollies, and win these rounds pretty clean, generally speaking. But COG just kind of slowing it down. They're playing like it's a gun round, to be honest. They might not know that it's a full eco yet.
Yeah. Even to take control across the map here too, they're taking it pretty slowly. Whereas Team Liquid have just gone for a full-on 5-man gamble stack down towards B, which isn't the worst idea in the world considering how CLG have been playing their gun rounds up to this point. But moving in to clear it out, they are going to find out in a moment that besides Ricky, there's no presence sitting back over here inside of Monster, and he even gets 2 before being traded up by Pimp there. So that will clear that out. And again, Team Liquid should be able to move 1 or 2 of their players back upstairs here towards the A-bomb site now. But even with that, just finding the 2-for-1 trade is still a good trade overall for CLG, as now it's going to be even easier to clean things up once they waltz onto the A-bomb site for free here in a moment and get that plant.
Yeah, JDM will just save that gun. Looks like Sam's going to actually kind of help him out there. See if he could kill anybody creeping through Monster to try to chase. But all in all, 6-3 for CLG, and I mean, I did not see this coming at all. I did not see CLG putting up. I didn't think CLG would take a map off of Liquid based off what we saw throughout this season. To me, this is like not just an upset; it's a pretty big upset so far. Just being up 6-3, obviously CLG hasn't won the map or anything yet, but winning Inferno and being up in a pretty good fashion on Overpass right now, just did not expect it. Stanislaw looks like he lagged out or something like that, so probably gonna see a pause here.
Yeah, Finesse is even gonna find Pimp there too. Thankfully, the player with the AK didn't disconnect, so they still will save that. So nothing. I think the last guy only had. I think Stan only had like a USP. Anyway,
no, he only had a USP. Yeah, so absolutely.
Doesn't lose anything out of that. So we will get him reconnected in a moment, guys. And as soon as he's back in, we'll unpause the game. But yeah, I mean, upset here being a being a huge understatement considering what happened with CLG yesterday and that fact that they were a complete mess. We're even still seeing, like you were saying, some of those smaller mistakes going into that first map before, but it was in much smaller degree. Just communication issues when they were faced with some orthodox pushes from the CTs, and then, you know, just a little bit poor utility usage in certain situations. But beyond that, they've been looking really strong right now, both in individual skill along with just tactics that they're employing against Team Liquid right now. Meanwhile, Team Liquid, they're showing up with a lot of blanks.